So that's streaming. It should be working right about now. The moment I see chat working, I'm gonna immediately know when it's working. Come on, camera turn on. There we go. Okay, so now it's working. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the next stream. Oh my god, my camera is dead. Okay. Oh no! Ow, god. Sorry y'all, it's me trying to set up my camera, except my camera app is dead. Hello? Sorry guys, it should work. I have no idea what's going on. It should be connecting with my camera, but it's not. Yep, it's just black. No idea what's going on there. Maybe I should close the app and reopen it. Hopefully that'll work. Connecting. Strange. What if I close this and open it? Hey, now we're going. 8 people. It's really funny because, oh, I get it. Never mind. So basically what happened, guys, is that I selected the wrong stream to stream on. I accidentally clicked on a stream from like 2019. Yes, I tried to stream in 2019 and it didn't go so well. So that's why you had that weird blue thumbnail, because that's my banner, isn't it? Oh my god, it's still my banner to this day. Yeah, I made that banner in like 2019. We have Pixel Gun, we have Fortnite, Geometry Dash, and Instagram. That's how old this shit is. You can't see my Instagram anymore. I don't play Geometry Dash because it's boring. Pixel Gun is dead, and Fortnite, I mean, I still play Fortnite, but you can't really make YouTube videos out of it. Anyway, I'm sorry guys, but the mic level is just as low as it was last time. As you see, I tried to get one of these little things, and it. I don't know if it's working or not, but we're about to find out when I mute myself and look at my stream. I mean, it actually this muffling thing seems to work relatively better than I thought it would, so that's great. Anyway, I was planning to stream about 12 hours away from now. I was gonna stream during my daytime because like that means it would be in the evening for Chinese people or anyone else in the Asian area. But then I figured, you know what? I'm actually gonna just stream right now, 12 hours difference, and then we're gonna see which stream ranks up more views, and then I'll know what the best possible time is for me to stream. Anyway, yeah, this one is definitely not gonna take as long because we're only doing 2018 this time. A lot of people are saying I should do 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and then 2020 all the way to 2022. But the reality is that like 2016 to 2017 is like 35 levels, 2018 is 21, 2019 is like 28, and then 2020 to 2022 is like 12. So you can't do 2018 and 2019 together. That is way too many levels. I'm not trying to do a 5-hour stream. And yeah, I think I'd rather jump into oncoming traffic than do that. So anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna rank just 2018 for today. Anyway, for all the new people on stream, hey guys, my name is Declan Hugo, and yeah, I'm really tired, bro. I woke up at like 6 a.m. Oh my god. Just like test my camera real quick. Okay, should be working now. 17 people. That seems pretty good. I feel like the other time that I stream is better by a little bit. I feel like the majority of my viewer base is actually on the Western area and not in Asia. Wait a minute. Is that Shizori? Wait a second. Oh, that is you. I know because you have such a stupid looking profile picture. No offense. Wait, I really hope that was Shizori because I might have just offended some random person who wasn't actually Shizori. Guys, I tried to turn up my microphone as much as I could, and it is not gonna go any higher. I am sorry. Okay, let's see. Pixel thinks Cloud is shit. I mean, what did Cloud ever do to you, bro? Let's see. We're gonna adjust this. Oh, come on, bro. And then we're gonna drag chat a little lower, and then we're gonna drag this a little this way, and then we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do that. Okay, so this is my OBS stream. Seems to be working pretty well. Okay, we've hit about 25 people. That's enough. We do not need to wait for more people. It's a little bit too late for me to be just waiting for more and more people to show up. Anyway, let's look at the comments so far. Let me move my camera a little bit so y'all can see the comments. Okay. Yeah, Cloud. No, we'll get to that. No, we'll get to that really, really soon, in fact. Oh, World Cup is going to be interesting. Y'all are going to be really interested in what I have to say about World Cup. Unless, of course, you don't. Because I'm not actually the main character. My opinion isn't a word of law. What is that? Oh, I see what's going on. See this little logo right here in that like region? Wait, let me try and this right here. The logo is like flickering on my phone screen, which I have the camera recording on, but it's really bugged. I'm trying to connect this through Wi-Fi, so if the camera ever turns off, just know that the Wi-Fi just decided to give me the big middle fuck you finger. Okay, yeah. We're not gonna waste a billion and billion bajillion hours introducing the stream. We're just gonna get right into it because I do not have enough time for TS. Okay. Should look good right about there. Or maybe I should like open it and then zoom it automatically. Okay, and that can go scaled down to about here. Is that looking? That's looking pretty. So, okay, so the camera goes about here off screen. Maybe I'll free up a little bit of extra space. My camera's a little bit too small. Yeah, we'll pop this until it goes one row down. How about that? Actually, no, we can't do that because you can't see all the future levels that we're going to rank. Oh, wait, no, because we're going to add to S tier anyway. Or, I mean, not S tier, A tier. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like then. And you can still see the levels here, so I think it should be fine. We might have to adjust the size later. So, let's see. We're going to focus on the camera first. God, this is like really annoying to do because it keeps overlapping stuff on my screen. Okay, you know what? I mean, actually, you know, that's not good enough. We need like... Okay. That's fine. And then as for chat, we can just slide this one to about here. And, how high does that chat icon go? Okay, yep, so we're gonna put that there. Put this here. And then that's all good. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. We finally had the whole stream laid out. That's great. So just to be sure that my stream is of the correct format. Okay, should be going. So, what we're going to do first is we're going to just add to the existing list that I made from the last live stream, but I'm also going to make another list on the side with my other computer that I have right here. And then by the time the stream is over, then I'll put the other list in a place where y'all can see it. So you can see both the full list, 2016 all the way to 2018, and you can see just the 2018 levels alone. So, Shizright? I might have to just ban you from the stream. Chat, should I ban Shizzer from stream? Okay. The moment we get back to 25 people watching, then I'll just start the stream. But the average last time was about like, I don't know, maybe like 30 to 40 people, which is like, it's really impressive. So I'm starting to think that I should stream at the other time. Okay, you know what? I'll give Shizai one chance. Now, let's just get into it. No BS wasted. Cloud. The second tutorial level, the new tutorial level, the level that is now just replacing Massive, and it's the level that all players need to play first. How good is Cloud? Cloud is just not good. I'm sorry. It's not awful. Like, it's not garbage as an introduction level. It's just not a very good introduction level. It makes no sense. I have no idea what was going through the mind of these people. I heard that 2018 was supposed to be like a reboot for Rolling Sky, so they wanted to like start over with Cloud and then have another basic level. But eventually, as you can tell, by the very next level, they ended up giving up on that. So I don't think that Cloud was a very smart decision. It had no purpose. Massive was perfectly fine as an introductory level, and the only benefit Cloud has is that it's way easier than Massive on a difficulty official rating, which means that the next time we have another easy level, aka Sunny, it's not that Sunny is the introduction level. Now we have Cloud, at least. But still, it doesn't save Cloud from the fact that it is just not a good introduction level. Firstly, it just copies Massive at the beginning. The route in Massive is left, then right, then left, with like risers, but then Cloud just does that, but it's watered down, and there's no risers. And I just don't understand what the point of like this whole level is, because then it goes into the exact same blue sky theme, or purple sky theme, does the same exact shit, and then of course it throws in that infamous, like, they just spam a bunch of spinning hammers back to back, and every time I see any beginner play this level, they're like, whoa, oh my gosh, and it's like, exactly, that's the problem. You shouldn't be having a tutorial level that scares the player like that with a whole bunch of gibbly gobbly goo. Bullshit. And then it gets even worse. After the blue or slash purple sky theme, it goes into the purple labyrinth theme. Like, huh? Like, huh? What? Huh? I just like, who like put into effect this thing? I know it wasn't LYW, but this really feels like an LYW type thing, because it has no reason to do it. It was poorly planned out. It is a terrible introduction level. The way it introduces movers it's just like, why? Like, no, just Sky introduced them perfectly. But again, now that Massive isn't the easiest level anymore, I understand it. It's still poorly executed. The object usage is terrible. The object spacing is terrible. The theme work is just strange. It uses blocks as well, which, no. Desert was a perfect introduction for blocks, and we do not need blocks in Cloud, and they're barely used either, so the route knew that, like, we didn't need them either. No. Cloud is a strange level. It's not god-awful, but it is nowhere near good, and I feel like it's a disservice to Cloud. No, it's a disservice to Kung Fu and even Cube and even Hoop Dream that Cloud is higher than them, because at least these three levels have some kind of effort in them. Granted, the routes are god-awful, and they're just using a bunch of popular songs to jump on a hype train, and they're not very well planned out, and they had a lot of production hell that they had to go through, but they're still better than Cloud. Ignite, no, it's not better than Cloud. Ignite is so bad, dude. Like, the routes are just god-awful and atrocious. The objects are fine, but then the themes don't really make it up, and the objects are overall pretty basic, especially in their color scheme. Not very impressive. Again, Ignite is also another jump on the hype train level. So we cannot have that. And then Cloud, of course, introduces that mechanic of if you let go of the screen, it pauses automatically. And then that just opened up a whole new array of bugs. Because if you let go and then pause the game, or if you let go as you die, or if you pause the game and then let go of the screen and play the game again, it'll just break the level. And it's horribly coded and doesn't even serve a purpose. No beginners even need to use that mechanic, and then it never appears again, so it's still useless anyway. What did the comments say? Jolly, we cannot be saying those things in chat. Nah, I'm just kidding. All Jolly said was stupid shit. It's not that deep. Yeah, the chat's not really saying much, so yeah, they're basically all just shitting on Cloud. Okay. No, I mean Pog. I mean, I don't know if what you're trying to say in that like Massive also has the same problems as Cloud, but I don't know if I missed something, but in my opinion, it just doesn't. Like, Massive is a good introduction level, and it sets the ground for a lot of things, but not all of them, and it leaves the other things up to other levels to introduce. But now you have Cloud, and it tries to semi-reboot, replace Massive without actually deleting Massive, and it's just the music is boring, the textures are just copies slash used from random levels, seemingly picked. The block usage is terrible, the object usage is terrible. It's just not very good, I'm sorry. Okay. Neon. Oh, haha. Neon, neon, neon. Um, neon. I know a lot of people are saying that Neon has to go in S tier, and I would have put it in S tier for maybe 5 years of me playing the game. But now that I look back on it, the routes are just inexcusably questionable. Like, the routes are very, very questionable. And I know that, like, later down the line, maybe in 3 years' time, people will start making levels that look like Neon again, and we'll all be saying, oh my god, Hugo was so wrong to put Neon in A tier instead of S tier. And the truth, right now at least, is that Neon's routes are completely a mess. There are giant voids everywhere. It primarily relies on a bunch of diagonal spam and a bunch of moving tiles that sometimes phase through each other, although Minimax fixed some of them. The routes have no symmetry, but then the asymmetrical routes still look really ugly and unfinished. Sometimes they're collectibles that are either forced or they're easier than the normal way, which is just a big, big no-no, especially when you do it multiple times. The theme change, I'll get to the theme change in a second, but the objects overall are just not really that impressive. Like, when you really think about it, yes, they're very nostalgic. Yes, Neon is one of the most iconic levels in the game, but overall, the models are just not that impressive, and there's not too many of them either. Firstly, I will give credit where it's due. The new Super Jump, again, this is what I mean by I feel like Cheetah Mobile was trying to do a reboot of the game because they changed the super jump to something else. Now, instead of a little cube, it shoots out of a triangle. And I mean, it's cool, but the level never does anything with it. And none of the other levels after it do anything with this mechanic either. It's just like an extra obstacle that you're forced to place now. You're not forced to place it, but like no router has ever deviated from that. TCT tried to deviate from it in Virtual Network, and then Y3G tried to deviate from it in Breaking, but eventually both of them decided that no, we shouldn't even touch this thing. And it's funny because even 4th Anniversary uses the neon super jumps at the beginning, and then later in the exact same theme, it uses the original cube super jump, and it's like the routers just forgot and or ignored the fact that they used a different super jump at the beginning. I just like the super jump was an attempt to like reboot the mechanic and do something different and unique, and it's cool. It looks cool, but it just doesn't add much, and it's kind of an underwhelming new mechanic. And then of course, like, the objects themselves, they don't really have any meaning. Yes, we have a keyboard, we have a robot that shoots Wi-Fi signals out of it, and then we have an arrow that splits apart, and then we have a gate with horribly modeled spikes on the side, and it's all just like high-tech neon stuff. Like, there's no real looking things to it. It's just a bunch of like random technobabble objects, and they're only iconic because they've been around for so long and because they were paired with such a great song, which I'll get to that in a second. But like Objects are not really that impressive, and the textures are kind of basic. Like, it's literally just black central color with gray stuff, and then you either put purple, or you either put orange, or you either put green, and that is literally the entire theme color. It's kind of boring. Now, let me get into the controversial reasons as to why Neon is still put in A tier after I've complained about it in every single other department. Firstly, the theme changing. I am a strong voicer of someone who hates theme change spam. I hate it. I hate it so much. Theme change spam is the enemy of creativity when it comes to theme usage. Theme usage spam is just so obnoxious. I cannot list the amount of times I've seen it and just rolled my eyes nonsensically. I saw it in Midnight Movement. It was stupid. I then saw it in Tactic Core. And then I saw it at the beginning of Mecha. And I saw it in Nuclear Energy. And then, of course, you see it in Polar Night Wandering. And every single time I saw it, I just rolled my eyes in disbelief and said, I would like to take a quick trip down to the first floor without using the stairs or an elevator, aka through that window right there. And the reason I hate theme change spam is because it requires no brain power. It requires no creativity, no insight, nothing. The way theme change spam is used is, let's just flip it this way, then 3 lines later, we'll flip it that way, then we'll flip it this way back and forth over and over again. Wow, guys, we're so creative. Wow, give me attention. Look at my level. Thanks, guys. All the prizes, they go to me. I'm humbled. I'm humbled. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That's how I envision every single fucking router who does this. Aside from Horus, I know Horus is a nice dude, and Junipi is also a nice dude. At least he is now, not when he originally made the level. But the point is that theme change spam is the ultimate attention-seeking go-to when it comes to making levels nowadays. I hate it, but Neon's theme change spam is only good because it's the first. I usually don't like to apply this mentality, because then if you say that, oh, this thing that I usually hate is good because it's the first, well then how come I don't like Melodic Metropolis's double movers or their Bluetooth movers? That was the first to do it. The difference is that one of them is game breaking and the other one isn't. Theme change spam doesn't break the game. It doesn't ruin anything. It doesn't contradict anything the player already knows. The player knows that you can change themes whenever you want. It's not like there's a set in stone rule that says themes have to be this long, they have to be changed by a laser cannon or some kind of shake effect. No, like, because in Matrix, they established that you can change themes without any kind of shake effect. And even in other levels, like in Forest or in Massive, the theme changes weren't synced up, which means that players already knew from the get-go that you can change themes whenever you want. It's not like it breaks any established rules of the game. And Neon does it really well because it's Neon. It's a place about a disco, about a party, a nightclub. So it makes complete perfect sense that you'd have flashing lights with different flashing colors. And that's why I think my criticism of the texture actually is saved by the theme change spam. Yes, the textures themselves are actually pretty boring with just dark, and then one single radiant color. But when you spam the theme changes, that one single changing color comes in handy with the, no offense, kind of mid textures, and it creates something that feels like a nightclub where you have a bunch of like thin, radiant, bright lines that colors between purple and green and orange rotate and they shuffle, and it works really, really, really well. And then, of course, you combine that with the music, which is, in my opinion, one of the greatest soundtracks in the entire game. Zach Streifel blew it out of the park. I don't know what he was smoking or what he was taking, or if he had like a nitrous can on his bedside table. But the point is that he cooked the fuck out of this song. This song is just amazing. I cannot get over how good Neon is. I heard it the very first time, and the hairs on the back of my neck, bro, my chest hairs were tingling. I couldn't look away from the screen as I was playing Neon. It was just, the music was so beautiful, and it doesn't get worse at any point in the music. It has a build-up, and then it delivers exactly what it promised to with the exact same style, but just so many like melodies and harmonies and choruses just like surge out of the ground. And then, of course, it goes to the calm part where it has this nice flute, soft synth. And then it slowly builds back up again. And then it has this really tense moment right before the second drop. And then it it never repeats a melody in any annoying amount of way. It never loses its creativity. It has the same exact style without being too repetitive, and it is just a masterpiece from beginning to end. The song is a 10 out of 10. It's not even a question, and it really, really carries the level, along with the theme change spam. And then, of course, this is an honorable mention because it doesn't exist anymore, but the neon theme change effect, the iconic effect where it causes a screen wipe effect where every single part of the texture gets changed slowly in a wipe. And unfortunately, it's gone now, but it was really, really, really cool to see that at the time. And what's funny is that was actually accidental. There's a thing that the developers discovered when they made Neon and finally started spamming theme changes for the first time, in that if you spam theme changes, it'll eventually kind of overload the system somehow. Trust me, I know this is true, but I'm explaining it in a really terrible way. It'll overload the computer because you're spamming theme changes so much, and then eventually it'll reset and it'll scan every single texture file, and then it'll put it in place. The reason why there's a wipe effect, why it doesn't just flick to the other theme, and why it actually like wipes down on every single texture, like you have a square tile, it'll wipe across the tile. That's because that is actually the computer scanning the PNG image. It scans the PNG image live as you're playing the level, and that's why it gives you that really cool effect. And then the developers utilize that to their advantage by positioning all the theme changes so that at that end area, it would wipe all the way back to green. That's so cool. That is so cool. That's the coolest like visual mechanic in the entire game. And Minimax didn't deliberately delete it, but they changed the system that evaluates PNG textures, which is why it doesn't do that anymore. The original texture system used to be called CMR, and then Minimax completely got rid of that. To be honest, it was actually for the best. CMR textures were awful. They were a nightmare to deal with if you're like a fan-made person like me, having to like switch them out or change them or extract them in some way. So Minimax did do us a favor, but unfortunately it came at the cost of one of the greatest effects in the entire game, if not the greatest. But yeah, all of these things that I just mentioned combine to form a solid A tier. It's not better than Christmas. It doesn't have better textures or objects or sync or gameplay. And the same applies for 1UP and Relics, and of course the 3 masterpieces at the top. But Neon is a very, 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 very solid level, and it is arguably the most iconic level in the entire game. And perfectly, my camera switched off as soon as I was done monologuing about Neon. And I just like I need to just revisit the Neon theme change effect one more time. This is the peak of Rolling Sky development. This is the peak of the developer team. There's a peak of the routing or a peak of the modeling or a bunch of other different aspects of levels, but I think this right here, Neon, was the moment where the developer team saw a serious issue, a ridiculously problematic bug with the texturing, and they just, in the most genius way possible, they just combined it with the Neon atmosphere, and they made it something beautiful. And it is the best turnaround of a bug I've ever seen. The developers at the time deserve all the applause and more. Now, what the hell is going on with my camera? Every time this happens, I'm going to keep closing and opening it again. Okay, there we go. Yep, we're just going to keep doing that over and over again until it works. So yeah, it's great. Let's see, 1 second. So that, come on. And then let's go in there. I actually ranked Nick Kingdom already. I did a co-creation season 1 live stream, which goes all the way from Lab Confidential to Beach Party Rock, and you can see it in there. I can give you the timestamp later if you want, but I'm not going to do a live stream on that again. But what I will do is that in my co-creation season 2 live stream, which will immediately start upon the release of Comet Bound, the Trailblaze bonus, then I'll also include the original Season 1 levels, so you'll see Nick Kingdom there. If you're curious, Nick Kingdom is like the second or the highest A-tier level I put. I essentially said that it was really, really good, but it's not a masterpiece. So you have my little mini review there. 40 people are watching. Gosh. Okay, dude, this is what I'm saying. I don't know what time is best for y'all. Because if I ever ask a bunch of people, they'll all say a bunch of different times, and I just need to find a way to like perfectly lock in the regions of the majority of my audience. So if y'all are watching at a bad time right now, I'm really sorry. I wish I had a good time that fit for everyone, but I'm willing to stream at any time, whatever necessary. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like Nick Kingdom, and a lot of people expect me to hate Nick Kingdom because it's made by a Chinese person, and it's made by a rolling fan-made personnel. It's made by a Minimax Glazer, Winter Dong Chang, and he has a lot of bias. And I mean, I think all that is true, but like, I always like to separate the quality of the level from the router themselves. I don't really have an opinion of Winter Dong Chang, but he sounds like not the best of people. But the reality is that his level is still good, in my opinion. I think that Nick Kingdom is just a really, really fun, creative, good level. Yes, it has a difficulty spike, but it's less of a difficulty spike and more of a difficulty increase, where it's kind of consistently increasing the entire time, similar to Microchip, so I actually don't have an issue with that. I like levels that get harder and harder over time, as long as there's no, like, boop, like difficulty spike. No one likes those. Jungle Expedition. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, guys. My cold is acting up today. Anyway. TS is not that good, bro. I'm sorry, gang. This is not. No, 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 no. I saw a bunch of comments of people saying Laser is good, and I just try to erase it from my brain because Laser is not. It is not a good level. I understand. Oh my god, guys. Lasers, lasers, lasers. We have deep space UFO. We have sci-tech lasers. We have the diagonal lasers. We have the laser gate. Oh my god, it's so cool. It's blowing my mind. But aside from that little shock factor of them bringing back some old objects just for the title card of Laser, it is not a good level whatsoever. Is it better than Ignite? Maybe. Now that I think about it, Ignite might be a little bit better, but the song is worse, and the routes are a little bit worse. Laser somehow manages to have better routes than Ignite, even though it is a lot more basic, because Ignite has some really terrible routes. God damn, bro. But it makes me question, should I put Laser above or below Ignite? And if so, what about these two in the middle? In fact, I might actually put... that's tough. Because Ignite isn't really better than Hoop Dream. I'll put Ignite better than Cloud. How about that? Just, win-win for everyone. Ignite is better than Cloud. Cloud still has the exact same issues I talked about, but Ignite manages to pull through with at least a little bit more interesting of a premise with objects and the music and whatnot. But Laser is still better. But again, Laser still isn't that great. It's just because, like, the routes, again, as I mentioned before, are so basic. Like, they just don't do anything interesting with them, for the most part. I think the reverse section is handled really well, and then of course I like how Laser throws in the one-up spaceships and whatnot, so it's pretty clever in its object usage, and the music is actually pretty great. I've never gone over the fact that the music feels like something made by F777, and for the longest time I try to like search and see if he was the true artist, but I guess it's just, it seems like it's really just Cheetah Mobile people, but someone unspecific. It's really hard to trace back a lot of these creators. Like, even Minimax people don't entirely know the truth about some of the song composers and the routers and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't... It's a shame that I don't know who the song composer is, because I would want to see more from them, and or I would want to see what other songs they made for the game. But I think the song is really good. Is it better than Cube? Nah. Cube has just more interesting objects. I like the flip tiles. You can't ignore the fact that Cube introduced flip tiles, which are one of the most creative things in the entire game. And Cube just has slightly better music. Just slightly. And the textures are a little bit better. And of course Kung Fu has a lot more energy to it, and Winter is a lot more, it feels a lot more alive than Laser. But Laser is just not really my cup of tea. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of people agree that Laser is still better than Ignite, so I'm going to keep it above Ignite. And again, I don't hate Laser. In fact, I don't hate any of these bad levels. I might hate Ghost Dance a little bit, but I don't hate any of these levels. It's just because like we're trying to balance out the different tiers, and we want to be able to space them out in a way that feels, sensical. I don't want to clobber too many levels into the okay tier because I know that we're gonna have a lot of okay levels being thrown into here. But for now, like anything that I think is worse than winter, that is the basis for bad, in my opinion. Dazzle. Oh boy. Dun 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 dun. Dazzle. This is a controversial one. I know I said I was going to try and balance out the tiers, but the reality is that I think Dazzle is actually also bad. I just like Dazzle, it just does everything Neon did, but significantly worse, or it just doesn't even do a cool thing that Neon does. Dazzle is just like such a watered down, less lively version of Neon, and I know the bonus level is kind of doomed to be that way, but Dazzle is one of the worst examples. Everything that Neon does, Dazzle just does worse. The theme change spam is non-existent, which can be argued as a good thing, but then it causes the theme texture issue that I mentioned earlier to make the level more, like, not as good. Like I mentioned how the textures are just a dark stuff of things, and then you have one single thin color, and when you just leave that color on the screen for a really, really long time, it's just like it causes the level to look kind of boring and bland. Not only that, but the routes are just not good, dude. Like you could argue that they're slightly better than Neon's routes, but they do less stuff that's interesting. At least Neon utilized the moving forward tile mechanic to the best extent by like really emphasizing it at the beginning and then never forgetting about it all the way until the end. But Dazzle doesn't use the forward tile mechanic too well. It just kind of like spams it around in a way that doesn't even affect the gameplay most of the time, and it's not really compelling. The crowns are just terrible, dude. The Dazzle crowns are not good. They're like, at least Neon, again, Neon at least tried to do some interesting stuff where it just like threw shit at the wall and was like, okay, we're just gonna like spam a bunch of moving tiles and people can have fun with all of that. And people did have fun. That's why the crowns are so iconic. That's why the third crown is extremely iconic, if not maybe in the top 3 iconic crowns in the game. But Dazzle just like, it says, hey, we want to recapture Neon's thing, but instead we're just gonna use glass tiles and non-moving tiles, and then they'll just look like an ugly mess on the side that doesn't even move. And not only does Dazzle do that with the crowns, it just does that with the gameplay in general. Towards the end especially, it just copies Neon gameplay and waters it down. I hate that. I hate it so much. It doesn't sync at all with the music. It doesn't feel like anything original. It's just like the router ran out of ideas and copied Neon's gameplay at some points and then just watered it down and made it easier and nerfed it. It's like, could you really not think of anything better? Like, seriously? And I just like, the music? Oh, this is the most controversial part. You thought I was gonna like compliment the music? No, the music is also not very good. The music, it is promising with its jazz theme, but then it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't have any variation. The only thing that changes is the melody, but the melody just isn't that good. The opening melody is pretty cool, but then it just devolves into like the same repeating melody over and over and over again. And it's the same instruments, the exact same synth loops, and the exact same drums, and it doesn't go anywhere. There's hardly any build up or drop, and it just doesn't feel like really engaging. It doesn't feel like a roller coaster of emotions like Neon was. And then of course you have what was I gonna mention? That might actually just be it, to be honest. I guess Dazzle also just doesn't use the objects very well. Neon had an issue with the objects where there just weren't that many of them and they were really spaced out. But Dazzle not only does that, but it uses the objects even less. And it's just done in a way that's super unrewarding and not interesting. Combined with the fact that it just copies Neon's routes and waters them down, it makes it even less engaging of a level. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, because if I hear someone say like an actual like good defense of Dazzle, which I'm sure there are a bunch of good defenses, then I'll move it up a little bit. But right now, I still think that Cube is better than Dazzle. I think that the gameplay is slightly better, the music is more engaging, it has more energy, and at least Cube tries to do cool stuff with its collectibles, even though it's kind of jumping on a hype train. but I just think that Cube is a little bit higher in quality. But if a bunch of people try to defend Dazzle, then I might move it above Cube, just so we can agree somewhat. Okay, by Pixel. Huh. Damn. I don't know if it's just that like y'all are agreeing because I say a thing, but like I didn't. All I'm seeing here is just not any compliments on Dazzle. People are just shitting on it. Damn. Okay, yep, I don't see anyone defending Dazzle. It's staying right there. Okay. Sure. I don't know if I have like schizophrenia or something, or I'm getting the ill non-brain tumor, but I swear I thought I saw a bunch of people defending Dazzle earlier in this stream and on Rolling Lounge on several occasions. But you know, I guess we have a good audience today, so we're not moving Dazzle anywhere. Okay, Egypt time. Let's think. Egypt is okay because it's not as good as Tetris and it's not as good as Midnight Carnival. And the reason for that is because the gameplay is really, really bad. The gameplay is again bad. 2018 is I feel like this is a good time to mention this. 2018 feels like the era of really empty gameplay and really spammy diagonally gameplay. A lot of gameplay that is more focused on just fun in the moment stuff, what in terms of like playing levels for the first few times rather than a long lasting replayable high quality level. This is an issue that I've seen pretty much throughout the entirety of 2018 and in some 2019 levels, and it is just exactly what is epitomized in Egypt. Egypt has a really cool mechanic. The Egypt mechanic is really, really clever. It's genius. It's well coded. It's well introduced, but it's just used horribly. It's just used horribly. I really need to stop repeating myself over and over again. But this level just puts it on the left side. Keep in mind, it's only ever on the left side. It is never in the middle. It's never on the right. It's only ever on the left. Why did they do this? No idea. Is it related to a coding thing? No, it's not. I know exactly how this mechanic works inside and out. There's no way that there is a coding bug that stopped them from placing it anywhere in the middle or the right. But for some reason, they only ever placed it on the left. I don't know why they did this, but it makes the gameplay feel super repetitive and super unoriginal just because of the fact alone that they only ever use it on the left side. And it feels like every time you see it happen, it's like you're just expecting it to be the exact same as every other route. And a lot of the time, if you expect that, you're right, because the first time it's used is just a copy of the last time it's used. And the last time is just the first time, but nerfed up and made a little bit harder. It's like the reverse of what Dazzle did with Neon's crowns. It's not clever. I hate it when levels just copy another level's route and makes it a little bit harder, or if it copies a route from earlier in the level. It can be cool if it's some kind of a callback, but it just doesn't work because it's too much of a copy and it doesn't do anything interesting with this callback idea. And of course, Egypt's actual gameplay in the in the Illuminati power up is just like, it's not good. Like, how do I put this? It is really just like spamming a bunch of diagonals tiles and then putting a bunch of objects to jump around and then maybe a laser cannon or two. But it's so spammy, and not only that, but they try to bring back the rotating blocks from Castle in the Sky and Monody and Ghost Dance, but it fails spectacularly because the animation is just bugged. It's wrong. The reason why this is because the tiles don't get to spawn in place until right up close to the ball, which means that the blocks don't even have enough time to rotate into place. So what happens is that by the time the ball is right next to the block is like in the air, which means that not only is the block too late, but also you'll get killed by nothing. The ball will get killed by an invisible void because the developers didn't think for more than 2 seconds to say, we really had to animate a block before it actually gets there with the ball, oh my god, I can't believe we made that mistake. But then they make the mistake again with the laser cannon, and they make it again with the double rotating blocks. They're even more bugged. Not only are they late, but they're rotated 90 degrees forward, which means that sometimes you can just go through them. And the reality is that they're not even used properly in Egypt. They're like combined with other blocks just like to put them in there for no reason, but they don't actually serve a purpose. And you can tell where they are because they're just halfway into the ground because they're rotated 90 degrees forward. It is an embarrassing oversight to what should be a really clever and interesting mechanic, but they just don't do anything with it. And again, I have to emphasize that I feel like the idea of it being the Illuminati confirmed power-up design is an attempt to jump on the hype train, because again, as you know, in 2017 and 2018 people would not shut the fuck up about Illuminati confirmed. Every single time I saw a triangle or an eyeball with a triangle around it, everyone would not stop talking about that boring, unfunny meme. And I do think that Rolling Sky attempted to jump on this not only with reggae, with its Illuminati pyramid and the fidget spinners, but also here in Egypt. And it's slightly more fitting because, again, we have pyramids, but in Egypt it is just kind of obvious that they put an eyeball inside the pyramid just to make a bunch of people scream and say, oh my god, guys, Illuminati confirmed. Not only that, but yeah, the object usage is just terrible. It is flat out terrible. A lot of the objects go underused, and they have a lot of variations where they have objects you can place on a tile that will appear due to touching the Egypt button, but sometimes the level just barely uses those variants of objects, or it doesn't use them at all. For example, there's the Egypt Riser, which has a variant that you can spawn in using the button, but the level never uses it at all, and that's why you see that being used in Love E, because Minimax has a thing where they like to bring back a bunch of unused objects and use them for like 1 second, just to give them the little bit of justice that they deserved for not being used in the game at all. So yeah, Egypt Riser is completely neglected in this level. Kind of silly how they just like forgot that some of their objects existed. And of course they have a bunch of block variations that they never use. They have in Desert, they have a lot of block tunnels, and they made it so that you can actually have that activated by an Egypt button. But then the router decided, hey, you know what, fuck you, we're not going to do that. So he never used a tunnel that the developers spent a lot of time trying to build and make possible. And of course, that's why Love E ended up using it too, just like the Egypt Riser. But really, it is like, it is massively disappointing what they did with this mechanic. And then, of course, the level just has a lack of focus in its theme. This is a thing that nobody ever talks about, but it's kind of, like, unavoidable. Egypt, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're making an Egypt level, it should be an Egypt level, not anything else. But for some reason, the design team decided to combine Egypt with some high-tech stuff. Firstly, you have the laser cannons, which you can't really control because, like, those are just a default object that you have to use all the time. But then, of course, you have the archway, which is, like, Egypt stuff combined with high-techness on the side. And it's like, what? Like, why is there just high-tech nanobyte stuff on the side? Why is there technology on this archway? And then, of course, if you look in the background, it has these, like, electric Tesla coils on the side. What? What? Why? Why? I just... Gosh. All you had to do was make a level about Egypt. But for some reason, the developers just insist that no, we can't just have an Egypt level. We have to have an Egypt high-techy, mishy-mashy level with Illuminati confirmed in it. Yay, guys, look at our level. Give us attention. They had a concept that was pretty good. They had a mechanic that was pretty good with pretty good textures and pretty good models, and they kind of just screwed it. They kind of screwed it up a little bit. They had that cool, like, appearing floor mechanic where they, like, the floors slide in from the sides, and it's used pretty well. I'll give it that. That's why it's going in okay and not bad. And the routes overall are somewhat satisfactory, even if they're kind of repetitive and boring. But Egypt does its job fine enough. And it's a little better than SciTech, because SciTech does have some pretty repetitive stuff, and Matrix isn't as good as SciTech. but it's not as good as Mental Rave because Mental Rave has some amazing glass detail, and Midnight Carnival is a lot better when it's mechanics usage and its object usage and whatnot. So this is where Egypt is going. And then I'll just quickly mention that I like how Egypt brings back the rotating pillars introduced in Reggae, completely neglected ever since Mental Rave and Reggae, so I'm glad that Egypt decided to give them a little bit of a revisiting, and thankfully that paved the road for them to be used later in a lot of levels, including the most recently released Trailblaze, so good job on you, Egypt. Let's see, let's look at chat real quick. How far have we been going? We've been going for 48 minutes. Okay, it's not too long. I'm just thinking about that one guy who said, I have to go to sleep in 2 hours. I'm thinking about you, bro. I'm trying to make the stream under 2 hours so that you can go to sleep at the right time. Everyone else, I don't care about you. I'm only caring about this one very specific guy who mentioned it. Halloween is better than Tetris? Hell yeah, it's better than Tetris. What are you talking about, bro? Halloween has better objects, better gameplay, better music. Tetris is not terrible by any means, but it is nowhere near as good as Halloween. I am very confident with putting Halloween right there. And if you want more explanation, just watch the original live stream. And I put timestamps on it so you don't have to keep scrolling to find it yourself. You can just find the timestamp. Well, we do have Sunny. We have Sunny right about here, but we are not going to use Sunny in our ranking until maybe a week or 2 weeks from now. Let's see. To answer your question, Bluetooth movers are movers where it defies the main mechanic of movers themselves. The way movers are introduced from all the way in 2016 to the update right before Melodic Metropolis was that movers had to physically touch each other to activate. If I have two arrows on two separate tiles, if one of them touches the other activates and moves it in the direction of the arrow. That is how they've always worked, and that's how they're coded into the game. If you have two arrows that are this far apart and one of them moves, the other one will simply not move because there's nothing touching them. And then what Melodic Metropolis does is it says, you know what, no, I'm going to be an attention seeker and try to invent this stupid mechanic that is going to be stuck in the game forever. So what they did is they used Egypt movers. See, in Egypt, as well as other objects that the mechanic introduced, the Egypt button mechanic, you also have these Egypt special movers, where essentially they are invisible and they only appear after you press the button. But what happens is that even when they're invisible, they still activate if they're being touched, and they still activate other tiles that they touch. So, let me think if do I have any like objects? Here, we have two power bank chargers, okay? Let's assume that my face is the Egypt auto mover. What happens is that, like normal mover mechanism, you'll have one that activates with an arrow pointing this way, and it'll touch, then I'll activate, move here, and then this will touch this one, and it'll activate and move. But because the Egypt mover is invisible, what's going to happen is that you're just going to have these two, and they'll move. So you'll just have them move with a giant void in between them. And the issue with this is that if you introduce this idea to levels, it means that you can have any mover move somewhere, and then another mover will move. And it just completely deletes the mechanic specialty of touching equals moving. It's such a simple concept, and then of course the router of Metropolis, CNDY, said, you know what, fuck you, fuck the game, I'm going to be an attention seeker and do what I want, and we're going to ruin this mechanic forever. And levels still do it to this day, including Trailblaze, unfortunately. But thankfully it's never been exploited to a horrible extent, but the worst it's gone is Moonlit Midnight Movement. So hopefully levels will not be as terrible as that one in terms of Bluetooth usage. Oh yeah, I forgot about Emerald City. No one remembers that level because it's so god-awful, but it also had some atrocious Bluetooth usage. Anyway, with that little rant out of the side, Egypt is technically responsible for allowing this mechanic to happen, but it's not the only level that allowed this to happen because Happy Birthday has second floor movers, which essentially serve the exact same purpose of there being invisible movers. Guys, just like, Ignore the camera. I know, just ignore the camera. It's connected to the Wi-Fi, and I don't have an Ethernet cable, and my Wi-Fi is dog shit, even though it is literally physically right below me. But unfortunately, that's just how the universe works. That's how the cookie crumbles. So sometimes the camera will just switch off, and there's nothing I can do about it besides closing it and opening it again, which we cannot keep doing over and over again. Yeah, it's just not going to work. I'm sorry, guys. You can't see my face. I know, I'm so hot, but unfortunately, you're going to have to look away for now. Dude, Jolly, I can't help blowing into the mic. I breathe, and there's no way for the breath to go past the mic. If I breathe out, the mic is going to pick it up. And I have the little muffly thing around the mic. You can't see it right now, but if you go back and stream, you can see I have it on my mic. It doesn't do enough to stop the breathing. I have no idea how other people are able to stop this from happening. And I have no idea how other people are able to increase their volume past the limit. I wish I could fix these things for y'all, but I can't. I really wish I could stop having y'all hear every time I exhale, but I have to exhale in order to breathe properly. God, this camera is garbage, dude. The Wi-Fi cannot be this shit. Maybe if I close the app, it'll work a little bit. I don't know. Okay, well, why not, I guess. But again, I can't keep doing that over and over again. It gets to a point where I just don't want to keep doing that on repeat. Oh, and it's it died for like 1 second. Okay, Egypt is done. Eye of Horus. Ooh, interesting. I think Eye of Horus is okay. It's better than Joker because the music is a lot more interesting, and I think the routes are slightly more inventive. Again, it has the exact same issue as Egypt, where it only puts the arrow, the Egypt button, Illuminati thing, on the left side. No idea why it does that. And a lot of the times, it has the exact same terrible route design for the Illuminati activation. I don't know why, but today I'm finding it really, really hard to just say the Egypt button. I keep saying the arrow or the Illuminati activation or the mechanic. I just can't ever keep it consistent, but I really don't know why I'm doing that today. But the Egypt Illuminati thing is made in the exact same way as it is in Egypt, where it just has a bunch of random diagonals and stuff, and sometimes you can just avoid a diagonal path and still get the gem anyway. It is terrible route design, and it doesn't sync at all. It's completely useless a lot of the time, and it's not impressive. The objects are really spaced out, but again, it's fine because they sync okay. They're not great syncing, but they're fine. Also, Eye of Horus just uses way less of the objects that Egypt does. I don't think it even uses the risers at all. And a lot of the cool objects like the moving pyramids and a lot of other things are just barely used and hardly acknowledged or used in interesting ways. It does keep consistent by using the reggae rotating pillar, which is cool, but overall, like, no. It's not that great. It's not as good as Massive because Massive's introduction is just too good to be putting it below Eye of Horus. Eye of Horus also had an original soundtrack that they ended up changing a little bit to fit the final version, but the original soundtrack was so much better. The bass boosting made it feel so much more cinematic and threatening. The drum buildup was so much more energetic, and then they had a bunch of vocals in the background that actually fit pretty good. And I don't know what they did with all that, but they just click control, get rid of that, and they pasted it into the void. No idea why they did that, but I mean, maybe they just thought it fit the vibe of Egypt better. Who knows? Kind of disappointing because I did like the original song, but I guess we can't have all things that we want. I feel like every time I look in the comments section, like I never hear anyone actually talking about the level that I'm addressing at the time. They're only just talking about Trailblaze and like a level that we were talking about 4 levels back. But anyway, in terms of Trailblaze, I'll give like a mini review on it, but I am gonna make it just like go through all of the different Easter eggs and things that you could miss in Trailblaze, because I really do like the level. And I might post it on Bilibili as well if I get my subtitles to work and if I get the algorithm to pick up my new channel. But, you know, for now, we got to focus on 2018 levels. Circus. I mentioned this in my last video, but fun fact, this actually came out on the day my cat died. So it was very sad for me. And then I played this level and I felt such a mix of emotions because this level is like really threatening and really like spooky and creepy. And then, of course, you have the sad combination of my cat dying. So, yeah, it was weird to play it, but now looking back on it in hindsight, I'm able to view it from a more objective, quote-unquote, standpoint. So, where are we putting Circus? I think I'll put Circus by Midnight Carnival because, like, it's not. I was going to put it in It's Good, but then I realized that it's just okay. I can't really defend the gameplay at times. The gameplay is really, really whack. I do think it's cool how they sync up the jump pad spam, but overall, I'm not a fan of jump pad spam, and it gets a little bit old after a while. It just keeps going over and over again. The first drop used it fine. It wasn't too invasive, but then you get to the second drop, and it uses jump pad spam so much. And this isn't even that long of a level. It goes a little bit over the average time, but it is crazy how this isn't an Alan Walker level, and it still just spams jump pads relentlessly. I am not impressed with that, even though it sings pretty well. With that being said, though, the creepy vibe that I talked about, it really does work in the level. Like, the level fits perfectly in this kind of, like, eerie, what do you call it? It's like the Backrooms vibe. It's like, you know that something's wrong, but you can't exactly tell what is wrong. It's just there's these little subtle things, like the skulls being thrown in, and the music, of course, is extremely intimidating for a level that should be a lot more happy and child-friendly. It has this really eerie vibe to it, and I really like that. I like how Circus is subtly creepy like that. It has a unique jump pad design, which I think is really cool. I wish it was used more often. And it introduces the mechanic of the clown throwing you into the air. Why don't we have more of this? Like, why don't we have more things where an object actually interacts with the player? That's so cool. Like, the clown throwing you into the air is really, really inventive. And then the level just, like, it uses it, and then the game forgets that it was ever put into existence, which is a shame, because it's really cool. They should have used it for Happy Birthday, but they just forgot about the mechanic, I guess, so I don't know. Yeah, it's a shame, because I really like that clown throwing mechanic. The crowns are okay. Yes, there's the infamous third crown where it's just there on the side, but it's not a bad crown. It's just okay. It's really well hidden, so it's fine. But, I mean, overall, the gameplay is overall just okay. It's fine. The textures are actually really, really good. I like that the backgrounds are completely different. I always love it when backgrounds do that. Except there's this really cool detail, how if you match the backgrounds on top of each other and you overlay them, the stripes really far in the distance actually align, but everything else is different, which is a really interesting detail I noticed. But I always love when backgrounds are completely of different designs. Now, my iPad is about to die, so I need to do something real quick. Okay. We're fine. Now I need to copy some stuff into the version where you can only see the 2018 ranking. So Egypt is going in okay. Circus is going in okay. Eye of Horus is going in okay. Okay. So yeah, I think Circus is a pretty solid level. It's alright. It's pretty good. The gameplay's a little bit lacking. Also, fun fact, when I was making Polar Night Wandering, I did a thing where they have the blocks that move forward and backward, and I placed a block, and it moves over a void, a non-tile. It just moves over the gap onto another tile. And then Kevin, the all-knowing, the genius Kevin himself, Tony Stark Kevin, came up to me and he said, Galdonius, you can't do that. In the game, there's never been an instance where a block has moved over a void. That is not allowed. You should either delete the block or put tiles underneath it. And I couldn't put a tile underneath it because I had a Bluetooth mover in that exact position, and I couldn't get rid of it because it would ruin the effect of the clicking tile mechanic. So I had to have it the way that it was, and I couldn't use extension tiles either. But Kevin was insistent that I couldn't have a void underneath the moving block because the game had never done it before. Anyway, you know what? We're going to go on a little bit of a detour. We're going to go onto YouTube, and we're going to search up Circus, Rolling Sky. Yes, I know there's a lot of Squid Game stuff because I was watching a bunch of Squid Game clips. And we're going to look at Rolling Sky Circus because there's a thing that I've remembered when I had this discussion with Kevin. And we are going to mute the desktop audio because I do not want to be copyright claimed. Because if I vaguely remember, it's almost as if blocks moved over the void. Oh my gosh, guys. It's almost as if Kevin doesn't actually know what he's talking about. I literally decided to screenshot this exact thing and send it directly to Kevin. And not only did he say that, no, I still can't do it, but also in the very next update, they then changed this to put tiles underneath the blocks. They lied about a rule being in place that a router can't do, and then I proved them wrong, and then they not only said, no, actually you, but they also corrected the issue that I pointed out to them and pretended like it was never there in the first place. What a laughably stupid developer team, bro. The fact that they were outsmarted by a guy who has pretty much no knowledge of building a game, but I know their game more thoroughly than they do, which is crazy. And they get paid for this shit. And they told me I can't do a thing because no other level has done it. Boom, right here. Look at this, Kevin. And of course, he doesn't know what to say. But at least, I guess now, thanks to me, we fixed this issue in Circus. Now they don't float over the void, guys. Yeah, I know, thanks. Yeah, I mean, no, sorry, you're welcome. Yeah, everyone, thank me. But yeah, that was really silly. Complete tangent is over. Clown Park. I think Clown Park is actually better than Cube because, again, the textures are better, the objects are better. The song has a little bit more variation, and I think that the routes are just a little bit more thought out. And yes, we have the infamous thing that I'm going to talk about, but it doesn't really come in the way of the rest of the level. I think that the usage of the mechanic is still good. The usage of all the hoops are still well thought out. The cups are really cool, and I actually don't have that much of an issue with the theme change. However, the routes overall are just kind of mid. They don't do anything interesting. And then, of course, you have the infamous 1x4 sidestep gem. A sidestep is a movement where you have two obstacles, one in the front and one in the back, and you have a single space to move right between them. And they have this in Happy Birthday, and they have this in 4th Anniversary, and they have this in Jade Rabbit, and maybe some other levels that I'm forgetting about. But what you need to know is that this is not very common. It's not common at all. And what Circus does is it says, hey, let's actually move it this way and make the ball go this far in one single line to get a gem. And this is in a 1-star level, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the silliest collectibles in the game. I have no idea how this was never spotted before the game's release. Like, what? Huh? What? Oh my god, I feel like I'm losing my goddamn mind. There's just some things in 2018 that just make you think, what made them do this? Like, how did this go through people to be, like, made into this update? Like, how did no one, not a single time, step in and say, guys, should we, like, not do something stupid? But I guess, like, maybe they were just as much of a hive mind as Minimax is now. But I don't like to think of Cheetah Mobile in a negative light because they produced relatively good levels overall. But seriously, bro, how did y'all mess that shit up? Like, what? I don't understand how that even happens. But Clown Park is going in the bad tier, unfortunately, because it's just the routes are not very great. The theme change, I don't have an issue with it, but again, like you're still missing out on a huge chunk of the original level, and a lot of people just want to see the other theme get used a little bit more. And thankfully, Happy Birthday fixes this a little bit by using Circus, but at the same time, it doesn't defend Clown Park not caring about the original theme. So, I'm not very impressed. But yeah, that gem is one of the most infamous things in the game, and nobody has any idea how that managed to happen, and it clearly wasn't done on purpose. Ooh, this is an interesting one. I think now that we have a little bit extra space due to ghost dance being pushed downwards, we have to readjust the picture a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that actually kind of just works out perfectly. Okay, yeah. So it's zoomed out this much, and now we can see a bunch of other stuff. And now you're able to see World Cup. Where are we going to put World Cup? Do I think it's a masterpiece? Do I think it's okay? Do I think it's good? Do I think it's one of the most overrated levels in the entire game? And do I think it is one of the most ridiculously overrated levels in the entire game? It is. No, it's not one of the most overrated levels in the entire game. Get fucked. Anyway, I think it's somewhere in good, and I'm going to put it around. I'm actually going to put it above Christmas, and I think World Cup is it's still a really good level, even though I criticize the gameplay a lot now. World Cup has some pretty atrocious gameplay. It introduces these cool rotating tiles, which create for a lot of mesmerizing gameplay things, and it just tricks the player in ways that could never be done before. And of course, it then caps it off with that infamous flipping tile spam section, where it just spams a bunch of diagonals. And my god, am I tripping over my words right now, because it is way too late in the night for me to be doing this stuff. If I have to randomly choose when I'm going to live stream from now on, I'm streaming in the middle of the day when I have more energy, because I'm just slurring all my words. But I actually do still kind of like the diagonal spam section. I think that it's just wholesome, because it just really perfectly caps off the new mechanic tile being used, and it actually kind of syncs with the music somehow. I don't know how, but it just does, and it's super unique. It's the first level to do something like this, so it's somewhat excused, even though not entirely. And then the level just has a lot of cool other mechanics used too. It brings back the quadruple jump power-up, which I think is really cool, and it uses it in an interesting way. And then, of course, it has the street basketball net combined with the speed jump, which is actually a really cool combination of power-ups. And it makes sense because they call it the striker plate, which means that that's when the player would kick the ball, and it would go extremely fast, and it would jump at the same time. And then, of course, you have the goal mechanic, where it's not that complex, but essentially if the ball goes through the goal, then they have the scoreboard that counts each time you go through it, which I always think is really cool. I love that as a kid, and I still love it now. Those little details they don't really appear nowadays in Rolling Sky. Like a little detail where you go through the goal and a scoreboard comes down every time, where it not only has it there, but it actually counts the score, is pretty cool, and I wish more Rolling Sky levels did that. Yes, it requires a little bit more coding, but it's not that difficult, and it really pays off because it's a cool thing to do. The floating gem is really cool. It is the most iconic collectible added in the entire game, and I'm very glad that levels still use it a lot to this very day. It is a great mechanic, and the World Cup introduces it perfectly. The very first collectible, throw it up in the air, the player goes, "What? Floating collectible? No way!" And it just keeps getting used for the entire level, and I love it, I love it, I love it. And then it caps off with the beautiful ending. Like, the ending is so beautiful, dude. Like, it just combines every object ever used in the level. It just throws them all in there in satisfying ways. It throws in the collapsing yellow and red cards. It throws in, like, the trophies, and the confetti comes out from the sides. It goes through the goal one last time with the free crown. I love when levels give free crowns, and it actually feels earned, unlike Birthday Party and Lost City. And it is a beautiful, beautiful ending, and it is helped by the 10 out of 10 song. Yes, Zach Streifel strikes once again. It is a 10 out of 10 soundtrack. It is amazing from start to finish. So much variation in melody and instruments. The synth is amazing. The background bass is amazing. It feels like a goddamn movie chorus. It feels so energetic and beautiful and lively. It feels so alive, and it syncs perfectly with the majority of the level. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, 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 yes. This level is going in high A tier, even though I still think the gameplay is extremely questionable at times. Great use of objects, great models, amazing textures, great use of mechanics, both new and old, a perfect ending, and a solid soundtrack. Yes, this is going straight to the top of A tier. Football field, or as I like to call it, soccer field, because it's called soccer, not football. Yeah, it's just okay. I mean, like, it's not as good as 8 bits because 8 bits has better theme change organization. The object usage is better, the collectibles are more thought out, and the themes just look a little bit better, and the music is slightly more compelling. Football Field has the downside of being, I think, the shortest level in the entire game. Maybe Clown Park might be shorter, I don't remember fully, but this level is just kind of mid. Like, it's just. I mean, like, yeah, it's it's just mid. I don't really know what to say about Football Field. Like, it doesn't use the objects in interesting ways like World Cup did. The ending feels really hollow and boring. Like, the ending doesn't feel like an ending at all. It feels like the middle chunk of a level, and then they transition into the next theme. I don't really like that, and it's just like, I don't know what to say. Like, the level's just boring. It's forgettable. There's nothing to say out of it. But the routes overall are still higher quality than Massive. The song is still slightly more interesting than the other songs down the road. And while some songs here in the bad category are better, they're pulled down by even worse aspects. And again, this level is still held up by the textures and models, so I'll give it that pass. But it is not better than these levels up here in the OK tier. Let's see. But yeah, it's better than Eye of Horus. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting to the last, I don't know, 9. Can I not see? God, okay, like 11 levels. Okay, well, while that happens, I need to check something because it is late and I need to see if my cat is stranded outside. How do I mute myself? Oh, Oh, okay. Okay, whatever. No idea what that was about. I'm waiting for myself to talk on stream so I can hear if it works. Okay, okay, it works. Anyway, as I was saying, I was talking on mute the entire time because my mic just disconnected for no reason. Anyway, Infinity Dagger. Can you get the original Alan Walker levels in 2025? No, I don't think you can. And it's a shame because all Minimax has to do is just say, hey, let's get a song composer that we have right now to remix the songs and then re-release the levels with all the same textures and objects and whatnot. And happy days, everyone can play the levels now. Unfortunately, Minimax doesn't do that. For whatever reason, I have no fucking idea. But they don't, so you can't play the levels right now. Unless someone recreates them in RSR or IIE or some other kind of platform. But for now, they're inaccessible, unfortunately. RIP. Archamaster, it's not that they don't have enough money necessarily. I mean, you could just bribe a large tech company to do whatever you want for you, but realistically, you don't pay someone to get back into the Google Play Store. It's just a matter of the fact that Rolling Sky violated a lot of copyright laws, and they did a lot of things to infringe upon advertisement and paying to get rid of ads while not compensating for the people who are paying the game for their ads to be shown. So there's no way for Rolling Sky to just be like, "Hey guys, I'm sorry that I did terrible things in the past, but I hope you can forgive me now and we can all live in harmony together." That's not what Google allows. They don't fuck around when it comes to ad infringement. They're not going to let you just come back onto their store after you blatantly disobey their ad terms of service. So that's just not happening. Minimax will not come back onto the Google Play Store, unfortunately. Um, yeah. So, anyway, enough dilly dallying. Let us finally go back. Alone. Oh god, what do we even do with these, dude? These four are gonna take forever. Okay. This might be a little bit longer than 2 hours, dude. Who would the person who specifically asked me to finish within 2 hours? I'm very sorry, that is not happening. We have way too many levels to get through. I'm so happy we're only doing 2018. Alone. God, what do we do with this level? Like, what on earth do we do? I'm putting Alone right here. I think Alone is actually better than Mental Rave because even though it doesn't have as good of glass detail, the gameplay is still actually kind of entertaining. I know it's crazy for me to compliment the gameplay of an Alan Walker level, a gameplay where it just spams a bunch of jump pads and it spams a bunch of blocks and it's just kind of repetitive and boring. But surprisingly, I think that Alone is one of the least repetitive Alan Walker levels for a level that's incredibly long relatively to all the other levels in the game. And I think that the level is actually just done really, really well. The introduction of the dual ball mechanic is perfect. It's really simple, it's streamlined, it's not too complicated, and it's combined perfectly with the introduction of the clicking tiles, the tiles that just move really quickly in any direction, forward, backward, left, or right. And it's kind of just an elaboration on the neon tile mechanic, and I really like that. It's cool. The door, you are not alone, with the two World Cup gloves on the bottom, which, yes, we know they're just retextured World Cup gloves. You're not fooling anyone. I think it's still a really cool model with the electric beam on the top. Like, that requires a bit of extra coding, so I'm proud of them for doing something like that. The models overall are just super, super high quality and well refined. Like, the models are so great. Yes, a lot of them don't really have a meaning, they're just high tech objects, but still, they look really cool. And then, of course, you have the four variations of that little rising pillar, and it just goes from like really short to really tall. And I think that the second theme of Alone, where it builds up, the usage of those objects is so great. I love all of the syncing, all of the build up. The gameplay kind of ramps up, it gets a lot harder, and it delivers perfectly with the drop and the reuse of the dual ball mechanic. And that's when the level really solidifies this new mechanic into the game, and it's really, really well done. I love it. The beginning is great. And then we get to the middle part. We get to the white theme. This is where the quality drops off a little bit more than I'd like to see at a level like Alone, because the white theme is just dog shit. The white theme is terrible. I actually do like how it's a lot emptier because the background is so detailed and it has so much going on there, so it makes sense to open up a lot of extra space for the player to see it. But overall, it just doesn't look very good. I do like, though, how they have that void and they have the tiles kind of like falling into place, and then, of course, you have those ring obstacles where the rings come down and form into place. That's cool. And then you have the Dyson fans. I actually have a Dyson fan right here. This object is in Alone, and it looks really cool. I wish it was used a little bit more, but, you know, it's fine, I guess. Overall, the music there is just kind of boring. The gameplay is essentially just giant voids of nothingness, and nothing really happens. It's kind of disappointing. And then it goes back into the green theme, and this is where the level gets like infamously pretty bad in its gameplay, where at this point before it was really clever in its usage of objects, but then it kind of just evolves into these really low quality Rubik's Cube looking things, and then the tiles just move and it's just full perfectly symmetrical. It's kind of uninteresting. The second crown is just frankly terrible, and then it just spams a bunch of blocks. I actually kind of like the block spamming because it tricks the player into thinking that they have to do more than they actually need to. For example, the blocks go tall, but not tall enough to kill the player mid-air, but the players always find the need to jump around the blocks because they think that they're going to kill them. They always think they have to jump around the blocks, but they never actually do. And I think that's just a cool little detail, and it syncs perfectly, and it's somewhat satisfying. But overall, I don't think that the green theme is great at all. We had a great first 40 or so percent, then 40 to 60%, and like up to like 80% is just not good at all. But thankfully, in the final theme, it ramps back up again. It takes all of the elements from before in the level. It combines everything together in this perfect usage of everything. It's great. I love it. I love the ending. It's perfect. So it's just a level that has really good aspects and really terrible aspects. But overall, I think that the level goes on the higher end of the OK tier just because the objects are really high quality and the textures are high quality and the routes are still pretty great and they sync fine. And this is one of the best Alan Walker levels in the game. Here's the thing. I'll put Alone Remix here. I think it's better than Football Field just because Football Field is so forgettable and doesn't do anything interesting. And I think that Alone 2 is still more inventive than Massive. Not Alone 2, sorry, Alone Remix. I like how Alone Remix brings back the Labyrinth snakes, and it brings back the Ignite theme, and it brings back the Ignite things and the Labyrinth lasers and whatnot. And I actually do kind of like the introduction of a new extra theme, the orange theme. It's controversial to have a new theme in a bonus level, but I think it works fine enough. And the main issue I have with it though is that the gameplay is just frankly awful. The gameplay is not good. It's so boring. It brings back these cool objects, but it does absolutely nothing with them. The labyrinth snakes are used for a little while and then never again, and they don't serve a purpose. The ignite laser barriers are never used, and it doesn't serve a purpose. It's just there for like a short visual thing of like, hey guys, look, remember this theme? Hey, we're still here. Well, okay, we're moving on now. And of course, the problem with introducing a new extra theme with the orange theme is that now you don't have enough space for the other themes. They barely have enough time to use they don't have enough time to use the white theme. It's just not even there. And then the blue theme is there for like a little bit and then never again. And then even the orange theme, the theme that the level should be focused on, it gets used at the very beginning and the very end. And you know what's funny is that I don't. This theme is a little bit too similar to the pink theme. I have a little bit of color blindness, so this is kind of just a me thing. But when they transitioned from the pink theme to the orange theme at the end, I actually didn't even realize it was a different theme. It took me like half a year to finally discover that they had an orange theme. I thought that whole time it was just the pink theme because that transition just felt seamless to my colorblind eyes. And I can't fully blame myself, though, because the themes are just a little bit too similar. It's just essentially hue shifted upwards and maybe a little bit oversaturated. But I don't really like anything that this level does. The gameplay is boring, the sync is terrible, it brings back objects that it does nothing with, and it's kind of just a level that brings a bunch of promise and delivers on none of it. But it's still okay because, again, the objects are pretty good, the textures are pretty good, and the routes aren't god. Like, they're not, like, atrocious. Faded. Faded is going right here. I think that Matrix has slightly better gameplay than. Actually, no, Faded has better gameplay than Matrix. But the issue with Faded is that it uses the flight power up in the stupidest ways possible, dude. Like, you'd think that a flight power up where it makes the ball fly for 34 rows is really game breaking, but the level doesn't do anything with it. It uses it in such stupid, ridiculous ways. Every time it's used, at least almost every time, it's easier than any other path you can take, and then it just gives you a bunch of free collectibles. I played the level for the first time, and on the first time I completed the level, trying to go the easiest way possible, I collected like 1 crown and 7 gems. Like, I didn't even try to collect any of those things, but they just came to me because like the flight boost just gives them to you, and it's really easy to get to the flight boost in the first place. The mechanic is cool, and it's animated really well. I like how the camera pans upwards and then it has the nice trail, plus the screen effect on the side. It's really cool, but god damn, the usage in terms of collectibles is terrible. I hate it. It is like insulting that they made a mechanic that is still relevant to this day, but they introduced it in such a lackluster, boring way. Not only that, but the song, in my opinion, it's not as good as Alone. Faded, in my opinion, is an extremely overrated song. The lyrics are so stupid, they make no sense. And the song, I don't like the singer that much. And the EDM background music is just not as impressive as Alone or Spectre or Diamond Heart or Dark Side. It doesn't have enough range, and it's a little bit more stagnant than the other songs. I think Faded is one of the most under-deserved popular songs made by Alan Walker. And that's just a me thing, but again, it just affects my opinion of the level overall. So yeah. But credit where it's due, Faded is still overall a pretty beautiful level. The textures are just fine, but the objects are designed in a way where they're pretty mundane, but then they have really thin lights on them. Pretty much all the objects are designed in the way where like it's pretty dark and ugly, but then it is like lined with this really beautiful radiant color, and it works for pretty much all of the objects, and it's done really well. They're all animated extremely beautifully and smoothly, and all these objects combine to give a really ethereal, digital heaven-like atmosphere that Faded is clearly trying to go for. So I really do appreciate it, but unfortunately the awful gameplay just holds it back. The boring, kind of mid, overrated music holds it back, and it's not as good as SciTech, because SciTech is a lot more fun in its gameplay, and Egypt and SciTech and all the other levels above are a lot more creative and thoughtful. Faded does unfortunately feel like a desperate attempt to jump onto the hype train. Yes, Alone is also the exact same thing, but at least with Alone they put more effort into the gameplay and the mechanic usage and a lot of other things in the level. Faded it doesn't do it as well. Ooh, Faded Remix, interesting. Um, what should we do with Faded Remix? Uh, I'm actually gonna put it here. I think that Faded Remix it's just so much more fun than Alone 2. Alone 2's gameplay is so boring, bro. Like, it is really super boring, and like it doesn't do anything with its mechanics or any of the objects that it brings back. It's just such a disappointing level in terms of the things that it hypes up. But Faded Remix actually kind of delivers on a lot of these things. It has 2 cameo themes, and again, like, I don't really like them, but they're fine, and it does bring back that shock factor of, oh my god, it's these themes, holy shit, get excited, guys. And I think that the mechanics are used way better than they are in Faded. And overall, I think that the object usage is just a lot better, especially the opening theme. Like the whole feeling of everything just falling, like all the blocks falling, those little pillars with the descending object pieces on the side of them. I just think it creates a really, really ethereal feel for the beginning. And the music is beautiful, dude. I almost like the music more than the original. I don't know who remixed the song, but we need to get them back for Minimax. I love the remixer for Faded. Like, wow, wow, wow. I love the song so much, and I wish that it was made for a level with a little bit better gameplay. With that being said, though, the gameplay is really whack at times. It does a lot of stuff that's questionable, but it tries to do more, and that's what matters. It tries to do stuff that actually is interesting and different, and I appreciate it. The one thing I don't appreciate are, once again, the... It's not that I hate the cameo themes in this level, it's that I hate the screen time they take up. Because just like it is with Alone Remix, not only do you add an alternate theme, but then when you add in 2 cameo themes, you don't have time for any of the original themes. Yes, you have the green theme, and that's cool, but it doesn't use the yellow theme, it doesn't use the gray theme, and it's like, what? Again, goes into the bucket list of 2018 decisions that make no sense to me. I understand if you like cameo themes, but those do not come at the cost of deleting the themes that you should be focused on. Not only that, but then Faded Remix just uses faded objects in those cameo themes, so there's no point even cameoing them in the first place. Like, just use the faded themes. I am fairly confident that the second cameo theme was supposed to be yellow faded instead of yellow alone, but for whatever silly ass reason they decided to swap them in. And also, Faded Remix copies gameplay from Egypt, which is really strange. I'm not really a big fan of that, even though I think that it's done slightly better than Egypt. And some of the collectibles are better than they are in Faded. But overall, I don't think that the level's gameplay and like overall feel is good enough to be considered Faded. It is extremely messy. And Faded, even though it's more of a hype train seeking level, it still is clean enough. So anyway, I need to add these levels to the catalog on my other computer. This goes here. This goes here. This goes. Okay. Okay. Oh wait, that goes here. Let's see, what are people saying? Damn, Fade Remix came when your dog died, Jolly. That's really sad. Yeah, it's a weird feeling. Playing a level that, like, again, back in the day when it was 2018, everyone is, like, hyped to play every single new level. So if any kind of tragic event happens on the day that your level comes out, it's a weird feeling to be playing a level that you want to be excited for, but you're just so weighed down by this completely unrelated thing. It's a weird feeling, but eventually it goes away. Fun fact, actually, I only downloaded Faded Remix to around 60%. I'm pretty sure that's where it stops. And then they literally just, they stop you from playing the level, and they say, no, you have to buy the rest of the level. And then you get to have it permanently without it being deleted from your level collection. And so I just, like, back in the day, I was really hyped up to play every single level, but, like, again, you know, little kid me, I was not about to walk up to my mom and ask for her credit card Apple information so I could get a Rolling Sky level. That was not happening. But then, of course, the time came around, like, 6 months later when I was, like, faced with the fact of, like, either keep this level and I finally play the rest of it, or I just, like, let it die out and I can never play it again. So, of course, I decided to just go to my mom and desperately beg to buy this one thing for Faded Remix so I could have it permanently. And, like, I played Faded Remix to 60% when it first came out, and I only played the rest of it, like, 6 months later. So, just keep in mind, right, that, like, during the time that I have a YouTube channel, I have not played Faded Remix until well over a year into YouTube making, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I just never wanted to search it up on YouTube because I never really went on YouTube that often, to be honest. And I just never wanted to, like, play it unless I had actually bought it. So that's a weird feeling. It's so weird when you play a level to 60% and it, like, in your mind, it's as if the level just ends right there. And then when I bought the rest of it, it just felt like a completely different level. And my mind was just blown away by how different it was from the rest of the level. And now that I play all of it at once, I think, yeah, it's okay. It's pretty good. It's not terrible, but it's not as good as the original Faded. Okay, are we ready to get to the birthday levels? Okay, happy birthday time. Ooh, ah, what are we gonna do with happy birthday? Ooh, are we gonna think it's okay? Do I actually think it's bad, or do I think it's good, or do I think it's a masterpiece? I know, I know, guys. Like, hear me out, guys. I know, I don't want to hear any of you just shitting on this level, but you have to hear me out this one time. Happy birthday is just too happy of a level to put so far down. Happy is such a genuinely great level. I think Happy Birthday is so messy. It is so fucked up in its gameplay. It's just crazy. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. It just throws every single thing that they can at the wall, and I love it so much. Even to this day, I still have to stand my ground and say that I think Happy Birthday is a good level. It's not okay. It's not terrible. It's not a masterpiece, of course, but it is still really good. Happy Birthday is just like I'm someone who hates cameo themes. I hate rapid theme changes. I hate it when they spam the same object over and over again. And I just hate it when they just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. But Happy Birthday, once again, is the first level to do this, and it's done out of a genuine respect for the rest of the game. It is a genuine attempt to celebrate everything that we've been leading up to. The background is a perfect representation of this. Like, do I even need to explain the background? Like, the background for Happy Birthday is just so beautiful. Like, it just it has so many different elements from all bunch of different levels throughout the entire game, and it just looks so beautiful in its design. And I think that the cover looks great. I think that the textures look great. I just love all the objects, even though a lot of the objects are underused. And then, of course, you have the second floor mechanic. I know that the second floor is barely used. It's used twice, and it's not really used that compellingly, but I still have to give credit where credit's due. The second floor is still really cool. Like, the second floor is so cool. Like, come on. When I said it was used twice, I meant that it was used, like, optionally twice, where you don't have to go up to it. But, like, the second floor is just, it looks really good. The mechanic actually works near perfectly, where you can drop off the edge at any moment. You can jump up to the second floor. The idea to create the jump boost and have it float to make you jump higher, come on, like, that seems so basic to us now because it's been around for a long time. But do you have any idea, like, how smart someone has to be to say, let's take a pre-existing mechanic and update it to make it relevant for something entirely different? Like, that's really cool. That's so cool. I love the way the second floor is introduced. I love the way it's coded. I love how they put so many different objects on the second floor. Even though they could have done a little bit more at the second floor, I think it is a great mechanic. And of course, it is still relevant to this day to a very significant extent. And then, of course, it introduces the idea of, like, serious cameo themes. Yes, we had cameo themes in Alone and Castle in the Sky, but, like, this is the first time when cameo themes became a really interesting topic, and it became a unique thing to discuss about. The idea of cameo, a bunch of themes that were kind of arguably neglected before, like Green Neon and Circus and the dark candy theme. I just think it's all really well done, and I love how it selects a lot of levels that were easier before. Like, Candy and Circus are easy levels, so it's so refreshing to see them be used in ways that are 6-star material. And then, of course, E Labyrinth is such a great tribute to the Labyrinth snakes that I mentioned in the first video. Those snakes made Labyrinth amazing, as well as the lasers, and I think that it works perfectly to create a 6-star environment. It's as if Labyrinth was designed for a 6-star atmosphere. Like, come on, guys. And I think it's really great. And then, of course, I don't really like the music. I think that it's just kind of generic, obviously. Like, happy birthday to you. Then it descends into some random, like, tormenting melody that doesn't even fit with happy birthday. But overall, I think that it's pretty cool. And again, it's just made out of fun. It's a fun level. It really tries its best to celebrate and pay tribute to everything else in the game. And I just love it. And yes, the gameplay is extremely messy, but again, it's a 6-star. It's their first time making a 6-star, so it's excusable. And I do think that overall, it's still pretty fun. It's a really fun level. Now, what does chat think about my decision? Yeah, again, and I can't, I'm not going to ignore the fact where around 50%, that's when they start introducing mystery boxes, but I think that actually works really well because the mystery boxes haven't been used for a very, very long time. So to then, like, make the player think, oh, they're probably just using crowns in the level, that's why we haven't seen any yet, then to drop mystery boxes around 50%, like, come on, that's really cool. It's cool to then, like, build up the player's expectations of there being crowns and then throwing mystery boxes in there after they haven't seen them for a very, very long time. I need to think about that for a second. So you've had all these levels here. We really haven't had a mystery box level all the way since Matrix, because they never brought back mystery boxes after that. Yes, they had mystery boxes in the winter, but like they weren't real mystery boxes, and of course they were deleted in the very next update. So having them back in Happy Birthday is a genius move, especially with the idea of them being at 50%. I also can't deny that it spams sliding tiles in that 50% area with like 1-up binary bridges and a bunch of these like diamond spinning objects. But come on, it's still so cool how they trick the player so many times with the sliding tiles. They think the player is going to go this direction. Of course, the sliding tile moves to the other side, and it just flows really, really well. And yes, the mystery boxes, I have to acknowledge the issue that now we're getting into the territory. This will be very common later down the line, where mystery boxes don't feel harder than gems. They just feel like more gems in terms of their difficulty. There's like maybe 2 mystery boxes or 3 of them in total that actually feel like mystery boxes, and the rest of them just feel like gems. So I do have an issue with that, but overall it doesn't stop the level from being really, really good. Unfortunately, Fairy Tail's glass usage is just so perfect that it can't go below Happy Birthday, and then these other levels are just a lot more consistent with their design and a lot more interesting with their gameplay. But Happy Birthday is still a great, great level. Anniversary. Oh my god, bro, what are we gonna do with this level? Anniversary, dude. And we've been going for an hour and 43 minutes. Okay. Oh. Anniversary. Am I being too harsh? Am I being too harsh in saying that Anniversary is actual dog shit? Like, I'm sorry. I cannot for the love of me understand the brain that went behind this level, if there was a brain behind the level at all. The level is just so bad. I enjoy Ghost Dance more than this level. I was originally thinking maybe I'll put it somewhere around here. No. It has to go in actual dog shit, dude. It's better than Halloween Escape and Volcano because the gameplay is still a little bit better, and it has more objects, and it has slightly more interesting of a song, and it has the Castle in the Sky cameo theme. But my god, is this level just a complete pile of shit, bro. Oh my, I feel like gross. Just like I had to go into like a gay scared position because like it was just that terrible of a level to discuss. God, where do we even begin? Where do we begin? The second floor usage is like worse than it is in Happy Birthday, and it's one of the worst in the game looking back on it now. The second floor usage is god awful. It does the exact same thing that Egypt did, where it's just, hey, let's jump on the left side, and then whoopity doo, we have a giant chunk of nothing on the left, and then a giant chunk of boring first floor gameplay on the right. I kid you not when I say that the best they could really come up with is on the first floor, just stomp, 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 stomp. That is literally all the gameplay is at the beginning on the right side. How uncreative do you have to be to let that slide through? And then they do it again, literally 5 seconds later, where they have the second floor again. They do the exact same structure with the gem, and they do the exact same boring left-right structure with the first floor. And then they just have a giant, empty, nothing voids. It's worse than it is in Alone. And it doesn't get any better after that. I cannot like express how disappointing it is when a router has a cameo theme and it is done in the most rude, unsatisfying, like completely creatively brain dead. Like what? I can't speak, bro, because the Castle in the Sky cameo theme might be the worst cameo theme in the entire game. It is so disrespectful to the original creators of that level to then bring back the theme and do nothing with it. Nothing. It is just jump, 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 repeated the entire time. How did this happen? How did this happen? How? They really couldn't get a better router to do something, anything with Castle in the Sky. All they could come up with was just jump, jump, jump. Really? 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 And on top of that, they didn't even get the spotlights right. They had floodlights, right? They didn't have the disco lights. No, routers. They had the floodlights. And of course, they forgot about that. They forgot about the right stompers. They didn't do anything right with that cameo theme. It is a dog heap and pile of shit. And then, of course, they introduced the mystery boxes again, except they're 10 times worse than they were in Happy Birthday. They're so convoluted and ridiculous and nonsensical. And then they have the infamous mystery box where they just spam a bunch of those floating, spinning diamonds there, and it's just, God, it looks so awful. Don't even get me started with the boring soundtrack, dude. The soundtrack starts off being so uneventful that they have no idea what to do with the melody, and the bass is terrible, by the way. It starts off with a ooh. That wasn't me, like, just cutting off to explain this to you faster. The bass literally just cuts off right there. They have a bass boom, and it just cuts, because the soundtrack composer didn't even think for a second to actually let it, like, dissipate out properly. That is just, like, one of the millions of mistakes that the soundtrack composer made, and granted, this is Somatone's second song ever in the game, but you can't excuse that because, like, the song is just that bad. Like, whenever a level does something for the first time, like Happy Birthday using cameo themes, I'll excuse it because it's the first time and they're trying something new and they're genuinely trying to celebrate the game. But unfortunately, if you're a soundtrack composer, I can't say, oh, well, this is the first Rolling Sky soundtrack they made, because they've made songs before, so they should already have it locked in. So no, Anniversary song does not get a pass for being terrible. It is just god-awful, and nothing can save that from happening. And then don't even get me started with the ending. The ending is, like, one of the most, if not the most confusing, nonsensical endings in the entire game. The ending is so bad. I don't even know which way is the easy way. I don't know what the developers intended me to go. You know that the gameplay is so bad when you don't even know which way the router wanted you to go, to get the collectible or to go the easy way. I have no idea what the easy way is. And the Minimax tweak didn't fix any of this either. Again, they can't tweak the level too much, but again, it's just like, why? Like, why is the ending so shit, dude? Like, I don't know what they wanted me to do for that ending, but it is god awful. Zero sight readability. The models look terrible when they're spaced out like that. They barely use any of the Happy Birthday objects to begin with, and it is just a disappointing, ugly, frustratingly silly, and unfulfilling anniversary level. Disgusting, especially coming off the back of Happy Birthday. God, it is awful. I hate anniversary, dude. at first I was really putting it in bad tier, but then I put it in actual dog shit tier, and the more I explained it, the more I validated my decision, because wow, it is bad. Anniversary might be worse than Goblin Town. It is such a disrespectful tribute to the game. I hate Anniversary with all my heart. Is it better than the other two? Yeah, because like it's just more interesting. Like I'd rather play a level that I actively hate for doing a bunch of things than play a level that makes me feel nothing. I made that very clear when I put Jungle Expedition above Lively Spirits. I actually hate Jungle Expedition way more than Lively Spirits, but it's the fact that I put it above because I still would rather play a level that makes me feel something than a level that makes me feel nothing. And Volcano and Halloween Escape, I feel nothing when I play those levels. Speaking of Halloween, we have Halloween Night. What are we gonna do with this one, dude? Like, oh my god, my brain is not working. Huh. No, guys. I'm not fully. No, I haven't. That's not where it's going necessarily. I need to really, really think about this one. What do y'all actually think about this one? What do y'all think about Halloween Night? I really need to think about this. Like, I'm not sure how to categorize this level. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm just waiting for chat to see what they say. When I first played Halloween Night, I thought it was actual dog shit. I thought it was genuinely abhorrently terrible. I hated the textures, I hated the gameplay, I hated the music so much, and I thought that it was like a new low for Rolling Sky. I thought that like Rolling Sky had genuinely reached a new low, the worst level in the game. At the time, I thought it was even worse than Anniversary, and I understand why I felt that way, even though I thought I was overreacting. Now that I'm looking back on it, but the level still has all of the issues that I thought about way back in 2018, and I just want to wait a little bit to see what chat says so I can make my final verdict. I'm seeing a lot of it's okay, it's weird, it's fine. So, you know what? We're going to keep it right here. I think that Halloween Night is a lot more inventive than all these other levels here, because even though the gameplay is extremely whack, the usage of second floor is super clever. I like how at the beginning they make it so that you can stay on the second floor, but you have to drop back down and then teleport back up. I think the pipe portal usage is pretty good overall. It makes sense, it's comprehensible. I don't really like that it forces the ball to move to another lane so that the player has to let go of the screen and then tap it again. That creates a whole tsunami of errors and bugs that people don't want to deal with, especially if you're on widescreen. It's basically impossible to control the ball if it goes into one of those moving pipe portals. But so far I'm going to go through all the things that I hated in 2018, and I don't hate them now, but I still have an issue with them. Firstly, the textures. I don't like the textures at all. The the tiles themselves and the backgrounds are fine. Like, they're pretty generic because the background is literally just a spooky gate and then a pumpkin thing in the background. It's just like, yeah, no, like, it's just whatever. It's just generically Halloween. If you told AI to generate a Halloween Rolling Sky background, it would give you exactly that. And of course, like, the tiles are just okay. They don't really feel Halloween. They just feel more technology based, and I don't really like that too much. And then I just hate how all of the objects are the exact same color. Yes, the witch obstacle has the orange pumpkin, but pretty much all of them are this mundane, poopy red brownish color, and it's so unappealing to me. I never liked that color, and it's in every single object, and it just feels so monotonous. Like, every object has this. And then not only that, but a lot of the objects have the blue eyes, and so many of them just are like brown gobbledygoo with blue eyes, and it's so repetitive. Like, it's so ugly looking at it, like, all the time. And, like, the other two Halloween levels had so much variation in their object designs and color schemes and, like, feel to them. But these objects in Halloween Night are just so mundane, and they all look the same, even if arguably the model itself is higher quality. I just think the texture department failed spectacularly with these objects. They could have done so much better. So much better. The second thing I have an issue with is the music, dude. The music is, you can't even argue to this day that the music is just a copy of Halloween. It is the exact same structure, exact same intro, exact same instruments, and they just tweak the melody a little bit, and then in the second drop, it's arguably different. But for the most part, the level just copies Halloween's style. It's not interesting. Of course, the name of the level, Halloween Night, is extremely generic. Like, that is a fuck-ass stupid name. You really couldn't come up with anything. Witch's Grove, Witch's, like, Craven, like, I don't know, the Graveyard, anything, but they chose Halloween Night. Even Chucky's Night would have been better. That was the original name, and for whatever reason, they decided to change it. Like, and then, of course, you have the gameplay itself. I think the gameplay is not very good. The second floor usage is clever, but it's just executed pretty poorly, because then you have a first floor that looks so broken and terrible. It looks almost as bad as Anniversary's first floor during those parts. The gameplay itself is just pretty boring, especially in the build-up to the first drop. Like, it's just a straight path with a bunch of, like, blocks and stuff. The blocks look really ugly, by the way. They shouldn't have used blocks at all. And then the pumpkins are, they just feel like a copy of the pumpkins from the original Halloween level, but inferior. And overall, it's just really disappointing. They have a bunch of variants where they put obstacles on the second floor, and Halloween Night essentially uses, like, two of them, and then the rest of them, it just forgets that they exist. And the second floor is used twice in very kind of questionable ways, and then it's never used again. Okay, sure, why not, I guess. The level uses mystery boxes, yay! Except the mystery boxes are dog shit, dude. The mystery boxes are terrible. Like, all of them are just so nonsensical and annoying, especially that one where you have to go, like, which one am I thinking about? Yeah, I'm thinking about the mystery box where you have to do the 1x3 sidestep, you know, the demonstration I did earlier with the two objects. You have to go through them, and then you have to do, like, jumping in between the candles, and it's just really, really ugly and unnecessary and complex. And a lot of the objects just look really bad. That reminds me of the candles, by the way. The candles are just, they're kind of cool, but again, they're just used twice and then never again. The coolest object in the level is this skeleton skull, like, structure. It's like an altar, like some kind of cult worshipping thing, where it's made up of two arms, and the arms lift, and they lift the top of the skull upwards, and it feels like a bone contraption. I thought that was so great. It was really, really cool. I'm so glad they put that much effort into that object, only for it to be used 2 fucking times, and then never again. Yay! I can't, for the love of God, understand why they throw away these really cool ideas and objects. Just for what? Nothing. I don't understand, dude. I hate the object usage in this level. And then we get to the cameo theme. I don't really have an issue with the cameo itself, because, like, again, who doesn't want to see the original Halloween after, like, 3 years or 2 years? But, like, the gameplay is inexcusable. The gameplay, I said this back in 2018, and I've kept this all the way until now. The gameplay feels like they just took out the router, which was already pretty mid, and they just brought in the router's son, his toddler son, to route that one cameo theme, because my god, this cameo theme is routed horribly. Like, really, really horribly. I cannot understand why the cameo theme is the way that it is. I like how crazy it is. I like how it spams a bunch of tiles. I think it's fun, but from a quality standpoint, it just looks dog shit, dude. It looks so bad. It barely syncs. It just, like, doesn't fit with the vibe of any of the rest of the level. I have no idea why they decided to make the gameplay like that. But again, I do respect them for using pretty much every single Halloween obstacle. That's cool. It really feels like they put the most effort they could into featuring Halloween, the original one. And then, of course, it transitions back into the brown theme, which, by the way, only shows up at the beginning and the end. You already know I'm not a fan when levels do that, where they barely feature their own actual theme. And then the ending is just god-awful. I hate the ending, dude. spamming a bunch of jump pads, then spamming a bunch of blocks, then just putting like a bunch of those ugly ass brown potions and eyeball things, just ugh, gross, combined with that out of place witch laughing sound effect that you can just so obviously tell was thrown in at the last second because, ooh, spooky Halloween level. No, 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 no. With me complaining about this level so much, you would think that I would put this in bad, but I still think that Halloween is still entertaining. It's still somewhat smart with its mechanic usage, and it still does things that I genuinely enjoy. I think the cameo theme is fun, and it makes it worth its appearance. But overall, the mechanics are so whack, the gameplay is whack, and it comes nowhere near close to the other two Halloween levels. Do I think it's a 5 or a 6 star? I think it's a 5 star. No, like, I know a lot of people are saying that, no, it's a 6 star, but, like, is it really, though? Like, to say that this level is harder than Pipeline is a little bit insane. Pipeline, it just spams a bunch of sliding tiles. That one cameo theme is the only reason why people say Halloween Night is a 6 star. Like, every time you ask someone what makes it a 6 star, they'll always point towards the ending, where they just ramp it up and do crazy shit. But even Pipeline just does that all the time. Pipeline does that cameo theme kind of gameplay the entire way through. You cannot go 5 seconds without a sliding array of bullshit that you have to evade. Pipeline is extremely difficult. It never lets the player take a break. It always throws crazy stuff at you, and it never ever stops. And it's still a 5 star. So to suggest that Halloween Night is harder than Pipeline and it goes into 6 star is kind of absurd to me. I cannot imagine why people would argue that Halloween Night is harder than Pipeline. And again, you don't take the hardest part of the level, you take the average. And in terms of average, Halloween Night has a lot of easy gameplay. A lot of people point towards the ending, but everyone ignores the beginning, where overall the gameplay is so much easier than it is in Pipeline. So to say that Halloween Night is a 6 star, no, I can't agree with you, unfortunately. I'm sorry. And the mystery boxes, they make the gameplay a little bit harder in terms of the average, but they don't make it hard enough to jump it up to 6 star. Pipeline is undoubtedly more deserving of a 6 star title than Halloween Night. So no, I think that it's a 5 star. But if they moved Pipeline up and put Pipeline as a 6 star, then I would be okay with Halloween Night being a 6 star. But no, I never originally thought it was 6. Ooh, what do we do with Skeleton Party? I think Skeleton Party is just okay. It's fine. Like, it's just, again, I wish that they used the original theme, but, you know, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. But again, Skeleton Party, it just ignores half of the objects. It's kind of disappointing. And, in fact, I think it's maybe a little bit worse than both of these two levels, now that I think about it. In fact, you know, Massive might be a little bit better than that. Is it better than Eye of Horus? Actually, nah. No. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to change my mind crazy just now. But, yeah, Skeleton Party is not that great. Because, like, Skeleton Party, the gameplay is so basic. I know that it's a 1 star, but just having it jump back and forth over and over and over again, dun 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 dun, like, just, no, please, I'm begging you, just stop, make it stop. But it doesn't stop. It just keeps going until the very, very ending, when they finally do something different, and then the level's over. Like, seriously, the one time where they decide to actually lock in and actually make interesting gameplay, the level's done. And the pipe portal usage is not good. The second floor usage is, like, it is offensive how they used it so little and did nothing with it. Like, seriously, dude, that was silly. A lot of the object usage is just dumb. How they make objects, like, jump. Like, there's so many times where they have a tile and the obstacle is going to be there, but it starts out over the void, and then it activates and jumps onto the tile. But, like, how did the developers not think for a single second, hey, we have an object that just floats over the void before activating. Maybe we should make it start on the other side where there's a tile there, and then it can jump to the original tile again. But there's so many times when the, like, objects just float over the void, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like, you really didn't think about that for more than a second? And unfortunately, Skeleton Party does that all the time. Skeleton Party has the same texture issues that Halloween Night does. The music is still pretty generic. It just isn't that clever. But overall, I think that it's a passable level. It's fine. it doesn't do much, but it's not atrocious and it's not bad. I still think that Skeleton Party is better than some of these levels. But actually, I think I'm going to put Kung Fu above Winter. It just kind of hit me. Now, I just had a little bit of like a eureka moment. Kung Fu, it puts a little bit too much effort to be considered worse than Winter. Just, a random thing I decided to do. But, we gotta put, Skeleton Party underneath Eye of Horus. Skeleton Party is still better than Joker, though. I'm gonna stand that ground. Oh, this is an interesting one. I forgot that this level existed. Faster, aka Martin Garrix's Animals, aka the teaser to 4th anniversary, aka the startup to a challenge that went absolutely nowhere. But what do we actually think about Faster? Yeah, I think we're going to put Faster, like, right about here. The thing with Faster is that, like, again, it's only made to introduce the speed challenge. And, of course, Cheetah Mobile thought back in the day, oh my god, we created a ground-breaking thing. This is going to change the game forever. And then, of course, by 2019, that shit went absolutely nowhere. And the mechanic itself, like, the idea of having a speed part and a slow version is just, like, so, like seriously, like, is that really the best you could come up with? And it's just not impressive, guys. But with the mechanic aside, if we just talk about the actual gameplay itself and assuming that it's at normal speed, it's just kind of mid. Like, it's okay. I like how it introduces the idea of mixing all the other objects from other levels similar to Candy, but like, it just doesn't feel right, like the level just feels like just a conglomeration of random shit. Like, it uses way too much stuff. Like, Street Basketball uses the tires and the archway. It uses the Egypt double pyramid thing. It uses the reggae loudspeaker thing. It uses the Ignite barriers. And it's just like, no. Like, what? And not only that, but it takes place in the neon theme, which is by itself random as fuck. But then, on top of that, it doesn't even use the neon super jump where it comes out of the triangle. They just use the regular one, which is like, sure. And then they don't flash the themes like they do in Neon. They don't even use the purple theme from Dazzle, which is just like, what? And then for the third time, they end a level on the green Neon theme, which Dazzle did it. I wasn't a fan of that. And then this did it again. And it's just like, what? Just why? We have enough of this green theme. And the green theme appears in Happy Birthday. We don't need it to keep being the focus of attention. Like, just stop it with the green theme. And I think the gameplay is just fine. It's passable, but it's just so random. Like, I don't understand why the gameplay is the way it is. I don't understand why the level is the way it is. The object usage is strange. The gameplay is strange. The music is fine. Like, it's pretty good. It feels like a classic nightclub song. But the combination of the level itself with the whole speed versus slow thing is just frankly stupid. I'm so happy that died out quickly within 3 levels. And it's just a level that people only remember for the fast thing, and if it came out as like an extra bonus, then people would not remember it for T-minus 0.1 seconds. Oh. This is going to be a spicy one. This is going to be a really, really spicy one. Am I gonna do this? Before I do that, I need to open up something in my computer and check something really, really quick. Okay. What did I originally say? Okay. Interesting. Yep. I think we're about to go down that route. I think we're going to go down that route. I thought this thing in 2018, and then I thought maybe I should give it more slack, and now I think I might low-key be returning to my 2018 thoughts. This level is going in actual dog shit. It is going in actual dog shit. I know. I know people like to defend Golden Christmas. I know people will say that Golden Christmas is like, it's not the worst thing in the world. It does some clever stuff. It introduces the randomized gems, but Golden Christmas is a pile of dog shit. I would have put it in bad maybe 2 years ago, but any other time, I'm putting it in dog shit. Again, I don't even know where I need to start with this one. You're going to find this be a common theme whenever I put levels in actual dog shit. I guess we're going to start with the music. The music is god awful, dude. Like, it's firstly having Jingle Bells as the first Christmas level. Fine, sure, Jingle Bells. Everyone knows what Jingle Bells is. It's the most common classic Christmas song, so it works being the first Christmas level. But thankfully, Varying Christmas knew, hey, we're not stupid. We can't just reuse the Jingle Bells theme. We have to do something different. So they used 'Tis the Season to Be Jolly, and then it evolves into something extremely clever and extremely catchy, and that's why Varying Christmas is the S tier that it is. And even the winter, even though it uses Ode to Joy, or the Christmas song, you know which one I'm talking about, it still does interesting stuff with its melody. It still has different parts that aren't from Christmas songs, and it's really respectable. And Golden Christmas just takes all that and says, hey, I feel like being a lazy son of a bitch. I'm going to just use Jingle Bells again, and it's going to be slow, and it's going to be boring, and it's going to have no original melodies whatsoever, and we're going to use the exact same instruments the entire way through. We're going to start off with the maracas in the background, then we're going to have the horns for the main Jingle Bells theme, and then that is literally it. It is just maracas and horns and some random bells in the background. It is just a boring, ugly, disgusting, disrespectful song for Rolling Sky in a Christmas level. It is a disservice to the game, and it is one of the worst songs in the entire catalog of Rolling Sky soundtracks, and we're only on the song. I haven't even gone to the textures yet. The textures are ugly as shit. I cannot even begin to understand why they thought that having gray and yellow was a good combination and have nothing else except for this ugly ass red jump pad, and it just doesn't work for me. Like, no, 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 no. Like, it's so mundane and boring. This level looks like it's trying to make me fall asleep. It's like I'd fall asleep to this level more so than if I had simply closed my eyes. That is how mundane and boring and monotonous this level is in its design and its song, and I just hate it. The objects are also terrible. The objects are garbage. Like, firstly, you have two trees which do nothing. They're just generic looking trees made out of plastic. One of them just spins really slowly. Wow, we made such a cool anime. What happened to the days when we had trees that started out as flat 2D cardboard cutouts that like start out opening from a book and then they build on each other, and then we have it transform into 3D, and then we have it transform into real 3D where it comes out of the ground as a 3D object? What happened to that kind of detail? And now we're stuck with dun 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 dun. And then we have the collectibles. This is like the worst offender when it comes to mystery boxes being as easy as gems, because these mystery boxes are some of the worst I've seen in the entire game. There are so many gems that feel harder than the mystery boxes. There are two mystery boxes that I can think of right now that are passable, but the other ones are just as hard as gems, and they don't stick out. They're so boring. They literally just place a mystery box, and it's so easy to get, and it doesn't feel like any kind of extra challenge at all. Using them, that when I saw mystery boxes in this level, this was the first time when I saw them and felt nothing. When I saw them in Candy, I thought it was intriguing. 1UP 8-Bits Cube Matrix, I loved them. Even though Cube had questionable gameplay, I still liked their usage. Then Happy Birthday brought them back. I thought that was great. Anniversary, I didn't like them, but I mean, at least they had somewhat interesting gameplay. But then you get to Golden Christmas, and my god, it is insulting what they did to the mystery boxes. They just don't even care. Like, they didn't even try this time. Like, all they do is, like, you have a hanging chandelier of objects. You have to jump around it to get the mystery box. Wow, we're so clever. what happened to like Candy, where you had to go around a bunch of objects plus a bunch of movers? It was like an obstacle course, but now they don't even try. It's so disappointing. And then of course you have like the terrible gameplay, dude. The gameplay is so bad. The gameplay is just awful. In fact, it's worse than Anniversary. Yeah, it's worse than Anniversary. God, out of all these things that I'm talking about, it is worse than Anniversary. Because, like, the gameplay is just a flat plane of nothingness. And then, of course, sometimes it has a mover combination, but it just activates all of them, and they all just, like, slide to the left. Wow, we're so clever. No, you're not. I fucking hate this level so much. The objects are terrible. The textures are terrible. The music is god-awful. The collectibles are bad. Don't even get me started with the randomized gems. They are a disgrace to the game. They add nothing to the gameplay. They're just annoying. I don't understand the mentality behind them, even to this very day. I don't think random gems should have ever been added into the game. And then this level doesn't even use random gems in any interesting way whatsoever. The gems are shit. The mystery boxes are shit. The ending is like the best part of the level, but that's not saying much, because when I say the ending is the best part of the level, if the ending was all of the gameplay, it would go somewhere around here, and it would still not be anywhere near being as close to any of the other Christmas levels. Golden Christmas is frankly a disgrace. Actual dog shit. I am not changing my mind until the end of time. Do I think the same about Christmas Gospel, though? No. I think Christmas Gospel deserves to go somewhere in this range. I still think that it's bad, but I don't think it's atrocious. And I'm actually going to put Christmas Gospel right here. This is perfectly lined up from my initial thoughts when I first played it in 2018. And I was so disappointed by Golden Christmas. I thought Halloween Night was the new low point of the game, and Golden Christmas was the newer, lower point of the game for me at the time, because it was just that awful to me. And thankfully, Christmas Gospel helped me gain a little bit of hope back for the future of Rolling Sky in the next year. It uses the randomization gems a little bit better. It uses the second floor a little bit better, and I just reminded myself of the low camera, the Lilliput gameplay. Golden Christmas, that was so random. It was so useless. It was annoying. It looked ugly. It just made no sense. It was hard to read. I hated the Lilliput gameplay, and Christmas Gospel does it too, but thankfully it's not as problematic. The Lilliput gameplay is manageable, and then the second floor is still done better. The gameplay is just so much better. The gameplay, I don't understand why people think Golden Christmas has better gameplay. Golden Christmas is boring and flat and lifeless, and it does nothing, and it's just so mundane and boring. It has no pattern. It is just like slop, slop, slop from beginning to maybe around 90%, and then the last 10% is where the gameplay actually locks in. But for the rest of that, it's bad. And you know how I said just a few seconds ago how if Golden Christmas's last 10% gameplay was the gameplay of the entire level? Well, that is basically Christmas Gospel. Christmas Gospel's gameplay is like the last 10% of Golden Christmas's gameplay. It's like the routers finally gained their neurons back and actually locked the fuck in and made the routes of Christmas Gospel. And I think that the routes are so much better. They're so much more energetic and fun and creative, even if they're not that great in the grand scheme of the game. And the music, again, it uses jingle bells. I know it's not a good thing, but it still has more variation as well. The melody evolves into something more. It does more stuff. It has original melodies. The instrument usage changes over time. I just really like it. And then at the end, they have this little synth melody in the background that most people don't notice, but it makes the song feel so much better and more varied. Golden Christmas was just literally a single melody from beginning to end, but Christmas Gospel does so much more. It's so much more lively and energetic, and it feels like a genuine attempt to celebrate Christmas with the garbage things that were given to them by Golden Christmas. So, to give you a little bit of a summary, I think that winter was a much better ending to 2017 because it didn't feel like a drop down from Varying Christmas, it just felt like an extension. Golden Christmas was, in my opinion, the lowest point of 2018, and it would have been really depressing to end the year on such a low note because, in my opinion, Halloween Night was not that great, and then Golden Christmas was just straight out atrocious. But thankfully, Christmas Gospel, it wasn't the Hail Mary that we all needed, but it was a little glimmer of hope that the next year would be better. And yes, thankfully, I can say that the next year's worth of levels are way better than any amount of garbage that this end of the year of 2018 provided for us. So, with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed. No, I am not doing fucking 2019 levels. It is way too late for me to be doing this shit, bro. I cannot do 2019. There are 28 levels. So if this stream has been going on for, let's see, 2.5 hours, sorry to that one guy who needed to sleep 2 hours when the stream started. If I continue the stream onwards, we would be here for like 3.5 more hours. Please don't do that to me, guys. Like, please. I can't. I cannot do that. Maybe if I decide to like drop out of college and become a Twitch streamer and do a bunch of like stupid like speedrun things, then maybe I'll stay around for 5 or 6 or 7 hours. But I just no, I can't be here for longer than that amount of time. So, Aiden Scotswin, have you ever played any fan games other than what's RG? Oh, Rolling Fanmade. I played Rolling Fanmade a little bit, but I didn't really play that much of it. I only played Cave and the Pharaohs level, and then I played not Pharaohs. I played the Sand in the Sand level. You know what I'm talking about? The Sand Egypt level, and then I also played Earth Core Adventure. But other than that, I didn't really care about Rolling Fanmade. Rolling Fanmade was only popular to me, in my opinion, when it first emerged in like 2018, when they had like Christmas V3 and 1-Up V2 and Happy Birthday V2, where they just took existing levels and made them ridiculously harder with just terrible gameplay. But at the time, everyone just gobbled it up, and I gobbled it up too. I thought that the levels would be amazing to have in the official game. So Rolling Fanmade is only popular because they were the first ones to discover and utilize fanmades. But in terms of their actual levels as a team, I think Rolling Fanmade is just kind of mid. But actually, like, since I have the time and energy, like, I can do a live stream where I just rank all the Rolling Fanmade levels, both in the official game and in their actual game. And then in terms of other fan-made games I've played, obviously I've played Rolling Universe. I worked on the team for a really long time. I worked on about like, I actually made routes for maybe 4 of their levels, or actually 5. I made the routes for Satellite Rush, for a little bit of Comet's Arrival. I made the routes for Luscious Paradise, and then I made the routes for these 2 levels that ended up being scrapped. One of them was called Electric Love, where it featured like a cybersecurity level, plus Spectre-themed cameos, and then I also worked on Daydreamer, which ended up getting added to the game. And then I also worked on the bonus level for the Rolling Universe birthday celebration. Unfortunately, the game fell apart before the birthday celebration even happened, which is a deep shame. But yeah, I did work on a lot of routes that ended up being scrapped. But really, my real job in Rolling Universe was to just optimize stuff. I optimized a lot of textures, a lot of routes. Pretty much any level that came out, it had to go through me first. I was the one who like tweaked everything. And yeah. Oh yeah, I also made Abyss, that terrible collaboration between me and TCT. Granted, TCT carried most of it, but my routes in that level were so dog shit, dude. Wow. But yeah, I worked in Rolling Universe, and so I played pretty much all their levels. I wasn't a fan of a lot of the levels. I thought that the gameplay was pretty bad in some of them, including ones that I had contributed to. And I'm not going to deny when I say that Rolling Universe just has some questionable gameplay. And again, speaking of which, I don't mean to like throw shade on Hasoni's legacy, because he worked really, really hard to make Rolling Universe happen. But I think his most flawed mentality was that any route that doesn't look like his style of routes, or any route that looks like the Chinese style, is wrong. He held that mentality firm to his chest the whole time Rolling Universe was in production. And I understand where he's coming from, because again, he was cyberbullied, he was harassed by these people. People commented on him being dead and his dead mother. I understand where he's coming from an emotional level, but realistically, his opinion of these route styles harmed the production of Rolling Universe significantly. Anytime me or TCT or Extremacy or BroX Gamer would make a route that looked a little bit too much like the Chinese FO18 style, which we arguably thought was good, also, he didn't like it. He just told us, no, the route looks too flowy. It looks left, right, left, right. That was the most infamous line he always used when he criticized our routes. And overall, it caused a lot of levels to look really stagnant and lifeless a lot of the time. despite having good textures and obstacles. But overall, I don't really like the gameplay of a lot of Rolling Universe levels, but I did enjoy working there, and I do enjoy the heart and soul that went into making that game how it turned out to be. It was a fun ride. And I also played Professional Block. This is a hot take, but I genuinely hate Professional Block's levels. I think that Professional Block's team itself is incredibly scummy, especially when it came to the Hasani situation, and I think that Minimax glazes Professional Block way, way, way too much. And when I say way too much, I'm saying that them glazing Professional Block one time is already enough too much, because Professional Block is they're not only made up of morally questionable people, but also they harm Minimax too. I keep hearing so many stories about how Professional Block members are the most problematic in terms of leaking information, leaking editor APKs, going against Minimax rules, harassing and talking bad about Minimax developers and admins, and yet Minimax keeps them around. I don't know why they do it. I really do think that it's because the highest of higher-ups, the VIPs, if you will, are the ones forcing the rest of Minimax to work alongside Professional Block and keep glazing them and sucking off their dicks and allowing them to stay in the game. Because every time I hear about these Professional Block people, they're always causing problems. And it's funny because, there are people who hate me a lot. Like Walker Turkey and Y3G and F18, they despise me. Quidian, actually I don't know if Quidian despises me, but the point is, there's a lot of people in that Chinese Minimax Glazer group who really hate me because, again, I made Polar Night Wandering, I called a lot of them selfish, I leaked a lot of Rolling Sky information. But even a lot of those people will tell you that Professional Block members are more problematic than me, that I am less of a problem to Minimax than Professional Block members. So when they're saying that, you already know they're not fucking around, and that Professional Block is extremely problematic, and they should be eradicated from the official game. With that being said, though, I decided to just put all of my feelings about them aside and play all of their levels in their game, and then I came to the conclusion that I just hate their levels too. I hate their levels. I hate their chemistry level. I hate the dim light level, and I hate just they have this one dynamic cube looking level. It's god awful. And they have the Hawaiian level, terrible. I hate all of their levels, dude. Maybe with the exception of 2 or 3, because they're just so dog shit. Even the Tiger level. When I first saw the Tiger level in 2022, I thought, again, that was a groundbreaking thing because that was essentially the first fan-made level that had fan-made obstacles. So that was really impressive. But looking back on it, the models are pretty terrible. The animations suck. The textures are god-awful. The music is boring as hell thanks to C725. And that's kind of a reoccurring issue with that guy. And that's just the thing I've noticed with a lot of Professional Block levels. They just take pre-existing textures and objects and just repurpose them in boring ways. And their gameplay is extremely annoying, and that the gameplay always feels like it's trying to trick you. It never gives you a break. Pipeline and Happy Birthday try and trick you as well, but at least the levels are forgiving and that they're fun and they actually give you a chance to see what's happening. But Professional Block levels, it's like they're just designed to piss you off. At least they're designed to piss me off. I don't know how other people feel about them. They're not objectively terrible by any means. It's clear that the routers still put an effort into a lot of them, but me personally, I hate their style. I hate their object usage. I hate their texturing. I don't like their music most of the time. Professional Block is just, in my opinion, a terrible level making community, both in terms of their personality and their actions, and also their route quality and their texture quality. Professional Block is a lackluster as fuck building team. In terms of other fan mades like Rolling Distance, I've actually never played Rolling Distance. I've played Rolling Infinity. That was a really old team made up of RSGD and F18 and TCT, and I think Hasoni for a little while. I don't even remember, but Rolling Infinity was the second fan-made team that arose, and then it kind of divided into Rolling Universe and Professional Block after a while. But I played Rolling Infinity too. But yeah, I never touched Rolling Heck or Rolling Distance or any of those ones. And actually, I've never played a Tifco level. I've never played a Tifco level for myself. I've downloaded some, but I've never actually gone around to actually opening them up. And I've obviously watched every single Tifco level on YouTube, but I've never played any for myself. So when I do a Tifco ranking live stream, I'll definitely make sure to play all of them myself so I can actually get a feel of their gameplay without just throwing words at the wall that aren't actually true and genuine. And in terms of that, I think that's pretty much all the fan mades that I've dealt with. It's mostly Rolling Universe because, again, I worked there, so I had to play every single level to make sure that it was exactly the way Hasani wanted them to be and how I wanted them to be. So yeah, that was my main deal with Fanmades. But overall, I'm not involved in Fanmades that much. I don't play many Fanmade games at all. I don't play RSR or IIE at all. I don't play Rollercraft at all. I watch some of the Rollercraft levels on YouTube, but I've literally never touched the game, and I've never built a level there before. Although, I've never built a level there before as Declan Hugo. And I used to play, this is a little fun story. When Rhythm Join first came out, I was trying to desperately make an account, and for some reason their system would never let me, like, ever. I went through so many different, like, tech support things, and it just never, ever, ever worked. And finally, this one random dude who I forgot the name of because it was so long ago, in, like, 2020, he reached out to me and said, like, hey, I'll give you my ID that I used to get in, I'll give you my email, and then we can share this account, and if you want, we can build a level together. And then we built a level together. It was frankly dog shit. I was so bad at routing, but we liked it at the time. And again, when you first are able to build Fanmades, it's like you have this surge of adrenaline where you don't even care what you produce. You just, like, throw shit at the wall, and you have a great time. And yeah, we enjoyed, like, hanging out with each other online and building a bunch of levels. And then one day he asked me to be his online boyfriend. That just came out of bloody nowhere, bro. I don't know if y'all know, but I am not attracted to dudes in the slightest. I think that any masculine trait is an immediate turnoff. But when keep in mind, guys, I was like 13 when this happened, or like maybe 14. So when this guy just out of nowhere, he was also 14 at the time, by the way, so we were both 14, but it was just so weird out of nowhere for this dude who I'm just kind of like a chill acquaintance with, a guy who I just made levels with, decided to ask me out as his online boyfriend. That was and I tried to, like, blow it off and just, like, pretend that it never happened. I said, like, politely, like, nah, I'm sorry, bro. I don't date online and I don't date dudes. I'm sorry. And I tried to, like, keep it going and make levels together, but he kind of lost interest in just, like, working with me at all. And it's been so long that I forgot his name. So if you're watching this stream, then let me know, because I completely forgot which account you were, and I can't find you in DM history if I even tried. So yeah, that was quite a story. Oh, hey, Bowling King. God damn. Dude, Bowling King. This is completely unrelated. I was going through Instagram Reels, and I watched a bunch of AJR Instagram Reels. I did not know that you follow AJR. I didn't know that you listen to that music, but it makes perfect sense. You seem like the exact kind of person who would listen to AJR. I think that a lot of their songs are pretty good, even though a lot of their songs are frankly dog shit. Anyway, that was a complete tangent. I just feel like I had to say that because I saw your account following AJR. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Opia was my first real fan-made level. But Opia was the start of so many of my connections in Rolling Sky, because that was the first time I met Afton and Junipee, and, like, I guess I knew Bowling King and OTFT at the time, but that was the first time I met Brox Gamer. That was the first time I met Porygon Axolotl. Like, that started a lot of things, and I loved making Opia. It was so fun, even though the level is frankly dog shit. But I mean, it was really fun to make. But yeah, that was my first fan-made experience. Great times, great times. Is Eclipse a good level? Fee. I'll save that for the next one, and you can see that in my fit. Just kidding, it's god awful. I think Eclipse is dog shit. Anyway, but we're gonna talk about that in the fan-made ranking live stream in more elaborate detail. And yeah, we're just gonna have a separate fan-made live stream. Although I'm gonna wait until the end of 2025 to do that one, so that I can safely say these are all of the 2023 to 2025 fan-mades, and then if any of 2026 has fan-mades, then we can make a separate live stream for those ones too. But for now, as far as I know, they're not planning to add any more fan-mades until 2026, so we should be fine. But I just need to be sure before I make my live stream. And then after this one, we're going to do the 2019 live stream. And since there's 28 levels, I think we're going to do 2019 by itself as well. And then we're going to do 2020 all the way to 2022, which is going to be super short because we only have 12 levels in total. And then 2023 should actually be shorter than 2019 because there's less main levels. We're going to skip over all the fan-mades and all the co-creation levels since those will be in separate live streams. So by the time we get to New Year and Snowy Night, it's actually like there's not that many levels to deal with. But yeah, in addition to those two, and then of course 2024, and then 2025, I have to do Fanmades, TIFCO, and Co-Creation Season 2, and then maybe I'll throw in like rolling universe levels, and then I'll throw in the professional block levels and rolling Fanmade, or rolling distance as well. You know, we can just do a whole bunch of shit at this point. But in terms of ranking Co-Creation Season 2, we're actually I'm going to make sure that I live stream on Friday, literally at the moment the bonus level comes out. So that, like, just you know, for shits and giggles, we can rank everything, and then when we get to the bonus level, I'm actually just going to, like, switch my screen on the live stream, and y'all are just going to watch me play it for the first time, because I think that'll just be fun. And, of course, that'll be the capstone to end off the entirety of Co-Creation Season 2. Technically, Trailblaze is the finale, and it makes sense, but, like, of course, it has the bonus level, too. So once that comes out, then we'll be live streaming Season 2 ranking. Oh, yeah. Let me finish up my ranking organization for 2018 before I close the stream. Let me see. Where did I put faster? It's going over there. It's better than Eye of Horus. Okay, Golden Christmas is dog shit. It's worse than Anniversary. And then Christmas Gospel is better than Dazzle, but it's not better than Clown Park. Do you have any other? Nope. Okay, so I'm going to screenshot this and plop it into my sheet. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that I never even added any Masterpiece levels in 2018. I feel kind of bad because it feels kind of obvious to some people that I should add World Cup and Neon, but unfortunately, no, I just don't think there's any Masterpiece levels this year. Huh? Can I not paste them? Oh, it's lagging, isn't it? Oh, never mind, it's not lagging. Okay. So, I saved this untitled PowerPoint, so you can see it right here. This is the unedited ranking where I made sure to put all the levels in the exact same order as they are on the main list, except it's without the 2016 and 2017 levels. So it should be a lot cleaner for anyone who wants to look at that. Well, Afton, why not just wait for the other Season 2 concepts? Well, I mean, like, here's the thing. Meowing Paradise and Chemistry are so far behind in production that, like, unless Meowing Paradise comes out, like, in the next update or the update right after that, I might just, like, push them over into Season 3. Like, I know they're not officially Season 3, but these aren't actually called Season 2. These are called the summer entries. So it's not really considered Season 2, which means I can just, like, mix it around whatever way I feel like makes more sense. And it just feels more narratively coherent to have Trailblaze be your finale to Season 2. But if Meowing Paradise comes out earlier than I expect, then sure. But considering the production hell it's been in for the past half a year, I seriously doubt they will finish it in speedy time. In terms of Chemistry, bro, that level is just fucked. Chemistry is fucked. Like, Chemistry's concept is so dog shit. Like, I can't even get over, like, how nonsensical it is to have every single object be based off of text. Every object is literally just text. They have a text periodic table. They have the text for the different elements of carbon, oxygen, and whatever the third element was that no one cares about. The color scheme is god-awful. The objects are just 2D, like, pictures that are pulled straight off of Google Images. It is an embarrassingly terrible concept. And Minimax, they basically just have to reinvent the entire thing, make up their own objects, make up their own textures and color schemes. At this point, I really think they should have just, like, abandoned the Chemistry concept. Like, it is just that awful. But Meowing Paradise is salvageable. As for the other ones, like Calligraphy and Fireworks Charm, no, I think those are pretty much dead. I haven't seen a single peep of information on any of those. Like, I've seen no models, no follow-ups, no routers for them. The concept designers have said nothing. I'm pretty sure those levels just faded into nothingness, as well as Barbecue Night. And me personally, I'm not too pissed off about that because those concepts were just generic, ranging from generic to terrible. So I don't really feel bad about that stuff. Sunset Glow? You think it's S tier? I mean, okay, sure, maybe. Maybe I agree with you, maybe I don't. Maybe I think it's dog shit. Maybe I think it's just bad. Or maybe I think it's okay. You never know. You never know. What about Robotoy? Okay, now we're getting a little bit too ahead of ourselves. We did this bullshit in the last live stream. Y'all always try to do this, chat. You always try to do the thing where, like, I rank the levels of the year, and then you keep asking about a bunch of levels that I'm going to rank eventually. Like, oh, what about Westland? What about Robotoy? What about Enchanted Lamp? Like, no, stop, guys. I'm going to explain it later. You don't, like, why do y'all want to hear me yap about stuff twice? I don't want to repeat the same shit twice in a row. And arguably, I'm going to be doing all these live streams in 2025, by the way, because, like, these are so easy to do. I don't have to edit anything together, and they're just fun. Like, they're fun to do these. So, yeah. Season 2 is such a downgrade? Damn, really? You think so? Let me do, like, a quick look at my Season 2 catalog here. So it starts at Industrial Age. Oh, yeah, that's not a great start. I'm not going to lie. Oh, wait, no, sorry, it doesn't start there. It starts at Starlight Desert. My bad. So Starlight Desert, Industrial Age, Heartbreak. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Radiant Shadow, Fruity, Newborn. Oh, yeah. Shining Waves, Lighthouse. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, co-creation kind of sucks in Season 2. I'm not gonna... Wait, actually, damn. I didn't realize how much worse co-creation Season 2 than Season 1. Like, wow. So there's some great levels in Season 2 for sure, but, like, Season 1 was a little bit more consistent in its quality. A little bit. Like, in Season 1... Let me actually, like, look at my ranking now that I have the extra time. YouTube... These are some... Oh, look, there's Hell of a Boss. Dude, it's on Prime Video. Yeah. I don't watch the show anymore. The writing was so terrible that I couldn't even, like, defend it at that point. Live stream. We're not gonna, like, watch my entire video. I just want to see what my final ranking is. Oh, yeah, I forgot I even have my face in this one. Yeah, so overall, they're just concentrated around okay. But when we do Season 2, you're going to see a lot up here, and you're going to see a lot down here. That I can guarantee you that. There's barely going to be any okays. Season 2 is a really polarized season. But that means it still has its mix of good and bad. And for Season 2, yeah, I'm also going to include, like, old Sugarfall, old Polar Night Wandering. And, like, I'm going to try to include old Polar Night Wandering, but, like... It's kind of irrelevant on what I say about my own level, so I'm not gonna, like, spend too much time on that. And then I'll also include the original Axlo Waltz. There is an original Polar Expedition, but I have no idea where that is, so I can't put that in the ranking, unfortunately. And I believe there's an old... No, actually, there's no... I can't recall any other old version that was made by a different... Oh, yeah! Fruity Paradise. How did I forget about Fruity Paradise? Yeah, we're going to put that in the ranking, too. So, with those aside, Season 2 is going to be interesting. I can't wait for that one. But if Meowing Paradise comes out, then fine, I'll include it in Season 2, but I'd rather just include it on Comet Bound. There's actually, I mean, technically there's two old Sugar Falls. There's Quidian's Sugar Fall, and then there's My Sugar Fall, but I don't want to include My Sugar Fall because the developers themselves never explicitly stated that they wanted to even use it, so mine is more of just like an offer to them that they rejected. It wasn't like they chose me to route their level like they chose Galdonius, so I'm gonna like exclude Sugar Fall 2.0 and just focus on 1.0 and the final version. Q3 versions of Monster City. Dude, what? Like, no, I don't want to do all three versions of Monster City. Like, at that point, like, they're not really that much different. It would, like, be more productive if I, like, looked at the different versions of, like, I don't know, the different Goblin towns. But even so, I just don't, like, no, it's not different enough for me to consider that. Even, like, a fantastic sweet house, like the beta version versus the final, that would be more of a difference than those levels. And I still don't want to rank the beta versions because like every level has a beta version. We don't need to be doing that. I only want to like include levels that were made by different people or they are just completely changed. Yeah. I don't know where Moist Critical came from in this chat, specifically Bowling King, but like a lot of people say that I'm like the Rolling Sky Moist Critical, and I wish I was that funny, and I wish I was that smooth with everything I say. That guy just says the most outlandish dog shit, and it still manages to be funny as hell. I don't know who's harding either. What's my opinion on Trailblaze? Yep, no, I'm not falling for your bullshit, Jake. Now, you thought you could get me with that one. You thought you could get me to explain something that I'm going to explain eventually anyway in like a month's time. Yep, no, that's not happening. Should I rank all of the Bowling King levels? Bro, okay, listen, Bowling King, your levels are messy as shit, and like there's a lot of stuff to appreciate in them, but I have no idea how to compare your different levels, dude. Like it's hard enough to compare like these levels here in the official game, but your levels are so like they're so they're not necessarily radically different from each other, but the gameplay is just there's so much going on that it's so hard to comprehend all of it and make a definitive decision. So I don't know if I would be able to rank all of your levels in an understandable way. Plus, I haven't seen like, dude, like I watch the newer levels that you come out with every now and then, but like I forgot what all the older levels looked like. The only one yeah, I can't like remember the oldest ones. Why is my opinion on the last gem in Magic House? What kind of fucking question is that? I mean, like, sure, I like it. I mean, yeah, I like it. It's good. It's funny because, like, in Magic House, you know, I'm just gonna demonstrate again because I don't want to keep explaining this stuff. Magic House, Rolling Sky. Did I just see Teletubbies? I'm just gonna ignore what I potentially saw in the search bar. Let's see. When I first played Magic House, I like thought. Oh wait a minute, it's a little bit off. See, when I first played this, I didn't even realize until now. But guys, I made this joke earlier. If you ever feel useless, like your life has no purpose and you don't know what to do with it, just know that this super jump has no purpose. It doesn't do anything. It just sits there and you can't touch it at all unless you use a flight power up, and it will literally just kill you if you touch it anyways. So I have no idea why they put it there other than for decoration, but that's pretty funny. And in terms of actually collecting the gem, yeah, I think the gem is pretty cool in the way it's designed. But also, when I first collected it, I thought that you had to go to the center and then quickly move to the side. I did not see this mover right here, so I kept doing this, and I died so many times by doing it. I always thought it was just such a weird thing to put in, but then I realized, nah, that was just me being stupid. All I have to do is touch the gem. What is this video that I keep saying? Oh, this is Shea Frilla's Productions. I watch a lot of like movie review stuff because, as you know, I have a second channel, Hugo Ring Reviews, where I review a bunch of movies and particularly Hell of a Boss. Not always in the positive way, but yep. Oh, I mean, no. Wait, what? Aiden Scotsman, you have old polar exploration? Wait, really? I don't even know who the old router is, so that's a lot of useful information. Yeah, you DM it to me real quick. You know what? Why don't we just watch that right now, actually, if you don't mind? Although I'm going to temporarily disable my screen because I do not want any like personal Discord stuff to come up while I open this stuff. So yeah, Aiden Scotsman, do you mind zooming that over to me real quick? And while he sends that video and finds it, let me just read other comments that people are reading. Not reading, sending. Let's see. Do you think Nick Kingdom's last crown is satisfying to do? No, not really. Nick Kingdom's crowns are like, they're clever, but they're just really weird because like they're really static and it's kind of hard to like tell what's going on with them. And Aiden, are you gonna send it? Like, are you trying to get the link right now, or like, I have an idea. Let me like open it on my regular computer so that I don't have to, you know, turn that back on. There we go. Now you can see me again. Yay. Let me open up Discord on my regular laptop. uh, huh? Aiden? I don't. Oh, you DM'd it to my alt account? Okay, sure. I mean, I don't know why you did that, but I mean, it's better than not DMing it at all. Okay, Aiden Scott's win. Oh, right, it's on Billy Billy. Okay, got it. Wait, wait, wait. I thought this was Polar. Wait a minute. Oh, wait, hang on. I thought you said this was Polar Expedition. Huh? Uh, I thought you said this was Polar, you know. Am I like missing something here? What? Let me just move this a little bit this way so we can see this gameplay. Sorry, am I like missing something here? Aiden? Hello? What? I'm so confused. I thought you said this is the original Polar Exploration. Why are you giving me a New Year level? What does this even translate to? I can't even speak Chinese, bro. What does the music sound like? Can I? Oh, I can hear it. Oh, it is. Oh. Oh, this is Polar Exploration's original routes. That's interesting. Okay, guys, we're gonna live stream this now. So this is working. Okay. Let me actually like do this tab in a way where it's understandable. So you have this, try this like this, and yeah, we can shove this over here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now, this is not good, bro. Thank God they replaced this guy with Sneak. Aiden, while I'm reacting to this, can you explain why they got rid of him? Because I have no idea. I'm done with this game. I'm done with this game. I was about to take a one-way trip to the first floor, but then I remembered that there wouldn't be a way for me to turn off the live stream, so I had to spare myself from having eternal peace and ending my suffering, because holy shit, this level is terrible, dude. This level is bad. Holy hell, guys, we dodged a bullet, chat. We absolutely dodged a bullet. This level sucks. This level is terrible, bro. Oh my god. No, bro, what happened to my beautiful level? God, I almost feel like I'm reacting to it getting worse, but like it's actually like Thank God this is not the final version. Like, it's not as bad as like Axelo Waltz or Twilight Karst Cave, but it's just comparing this to Polar Expedition is just like insulting to say that they're anywhere near equal. Oh, this is like it's so generic. Who made this, by the way? Ah, I think I've seen that name before. Also, I need to mention how this level has absolutely zero sync. Like, it's pretty impressive to make a level that just doesn't sync at all. Nope, and there's the generic flight power-up usage. Okay. Also, it just hit me that this guy uses the New Year present thing that opens up, and it's like you do realize that this object just doesn't even exist in the actual game, right? Like, you can't, like, it doesn't, like, you can't, like, what were you even going to replace that with? Why would you use it if it's not even an actual object that is, like, replicatable in polar exploration? Also, my camera's broken. I need to fix that real quick. So, okay. There you go. But, yeah, wow. This is bad. This is very, very bad. Let's see what's going on here. Can I drag this down? There we go. God, bro, this is actually kind of embarrassing. So, Aiden, can you like explain why it got like removed? Oh, we're absolutely going to include this in the ranking live stream then, that's for sure. Except I'll just have someone like rebuild it, but then like with actual polar objects so we can judge it more fairly as a polar level. Oh, you already know. Rapid theme change. I'm not a fan of that. Oh, Lord have mercy. The level's actually not as terrible as it is in the beginning, but it's just, how do you sync with nothing? Oh, there's dual ball gameplay. Oh, that is atrocious dual ball gameplay, by the way. Wow, we gotta take a look at that one again. No, no, no. Like, I'm so sick of this thing, bro. Like, Observatory was cool. Then Crescent Moonbeam just copied it shamelessly. Not impressed. The Newborns bonus did it, and it was okay. Romantic Afternoon was just okay. And then, of course, now if we had this level do it as well, it'd be stupid. Plus, this high-tech portal doesn't fit with Polar at all. God, what is this fuckery going on, bro? Oh, gosh. If they fired the router for that route alone, I would not be upset. Huh? Wait. Huh? Wait, am I like missing something? What? That's the crown? Like, that's the crown. You're telling me that is the huh? Like, you're telling me that is the entirety of the crown route? Like, really? This level is really stupid. Oh, I get it. No, I actually understand it a little bit. See, they trick you into thinking that you can go on the movers, but you can't because the other one's a fake. So I guess that makes it's a little bit defensible. It still looks pretty bad though. Yeah, they just trick you. See, that wouldn't actually work. You would just die. So the router themselves didn't actually know their own trick. Okay. Hang on. Message request from Aiden. Accept DM. Huh. Okay, so Aiden, do you actually know why he was removed as the router? How does bro keep avoiding his own collectibles? I love how it just ends in the middle of the fucking song. Okay, sure, why not? I guess. Great job, bro. That was terrible. That was bad. I don't think I would put that in actual dog shit, but I would definitely put that in the bad category. And I will when I do season 2 ranking live stream, because damn, bro, that was something. Okay, the stream's getting a little bit low on people, so clearly we gotta wrap it up a little bit sooner than now. Yeah, so Tumon, basically the router had the level and he built it with the polar objects, but then he lost access to the editor APK somehow, so then he built it in IIE, but IIE didn't have polar expedition objects at the time, so that's why you don't see polar expedition routes in there. So, anyway, yeah, going back to this is what I think about the levels. You have the full 2016 to 2018 ranking, and then here's just the 2018 ranking. Unfortunately, I don't think that any of the 2018 levels are absolute masterpieces. World Cup and Neon come somewhat close, but the other ones just don't quite reach the highs of 2016 and 2017. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all all had a great time. And let's see, the next live streams I'll be doing is either next week after I'm done with my college camp, and if not that next weekend, then I'll do the weekend right after that. And y'all better let me know if I should stream it around this time period or if I should stream it around 12 hours from now during the middle of Sunday, because both times work for me, but it all depends on which people are going to be online more often. So, yep, to the 8 people still left here, I'm glad y'all enjoyed. I'm glad that the other 40 people watching enjoyed. And I will see y'all in the 2019 ranking live stream, or I'll see y'all in my video where I outline all of Trailblaze's hidden details. As for the Mosaic video, yeah, that's in production hell right now. I'll figure that out later. But yeah, it was fun, as always. I always love doing these. And yep, y'all have a great day. Okay, bye y'all. How do I end the stream? Stop streaming. Okay, should work right about now.